talking about a
PRP.
r p yeah a yeah yeah
Yeah.
PRP.
So
Yeah.
I was just giving Kenny Zach a short recap of our AAPRP meeting and what we talked about
Okay.
earlier today.
Yo, we live by the way on Instagram.
So y'all tune in. Y'all tune in.
Tune in.
Yes, sir. Talking
Talking
about
about. Here we go.
a
PRP.
Yeah, all African
Um.
People's Revolutionary Party.
yeah, all African People Revolutionary Front. Yeah, honestly, man, it'd be so many letters, and I want to say AARP so
Yeah.
bad, and like I have to stop myself. I'm like,
Hey,
that's not what this is.
hey, Malachi, has Zach told you about that? The AAPRP?
Um, I feel like I've
AAPRP.
before. Is it something new? Because I feel
Nah,
like
AARP.
but
I've heard of it before, but no, I still don't know nothing about it though.
Man, so AAPRP stands for the All African People's Revolutionary Party. And it's something that me and Zach are starting to get into. But what they try to do is that they're a party for African people, and their purpose is centered in the emancipation of and unification of Africa as an entire continent and all African peoples across the globe. But centered in with Africa as a continent, and they are a political party, but what they're trying to do right now is they have the understanding that to create revolution, there has to be revolutionary consciousness. So, what we're doing in joining the party is before anybody has to join the party, you have to become well, what's the word that he used? Um,
I'd say basically we you have to get that consciousness first, and you get in a work study circle, and I don't remember the specific word Jalen may be alluding to, but um, it's basically a process before you actually just get out there and start acting. You know, like the Fred Hampton quote. And Ahmed Sekou Toure also has a quote similar. Just without conscious thought, there is no real revolution behind it. You know, so it's really forming that ideology and taking the next steps on how to actually do a revolution. All right, since you can't actually just get out there and start burning shit down. Like you actually have to organize and strategize and then act around that. So, and it's not anything new. It's been like Kwame Ture was in it since like '67, I believe. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a very well established organization. It just kind of fizzled out in the past millennium, like this new millennium. So we're just sitting here trying to revamp it here in Atlanta, man. Because we found some brothers, and for instance, I got a brother in Cali and in Los Angeles. They actually just had an event today with the women's union portion of it. One of our admins, he put me in touch with some of our brothers in DC because I'm taking a trip to DC soon. So it is a global thing. It's a national thing as well, and anybody that's interested, hit us up.
Definitely, we're looking for
Can you
more
put it
people to
in the
join.
chat
Definitely. I
and
wanna.
tell me one more time?
Yeah. Here I'll put it in a banner. Hey,
It's
Yeah, I
all
wanna.
all African people.
I gotta get on that reading.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because hey Zach, what did you how far did you get in reading Powernomics?
Bro, I have not gotten far in that at all. Past the intro. I'll be hopping on the book. So, how far did you get though?
But cause now it's all good because I'm bits and pieces in it, but I'm on chapter 7,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's speaking on practicing group politics because it went through like infrastructures, like if you ever listen to Matt. for the consensus live, for the viewers out there, Powernomics is a book by Dr. Carl Anderson, and he was in office when Jimmy Carter was in office, if I'm not mistaken.
He was
And
part of the
so he has a
in the 80s, or this was in the 70s.
yeah,
late 80s.
no, late 80s, yeah,
Late 80s.
but he but the brother Claude Anderson, if you even look him up on YouTube, he has like before, because me and Zach heard of him before that. He had a Breakfast Club interview too, like recently, probably like some months ago. But he speaks about the book and all his other books like that too. But it goes just in depth on how we can just like really grow political wise, and just like I was underlining some quotes before I got on here. He was just like, he had a conversation with because you know they always have that like so-called debate, like why other groups come over here and so-called do way better than y'all been here just long and shit like that. You know, for me, I'm 25, so I don't know shit about what they be talking about that shit. I'm just like, I just got out of school, so whatever y'all was doing all that time, like I'm not sure what the fuck, but I know now we just gotta get right with like business wise and politically and all that shit, right? So, but what he was saying is, he said, we gotta practice quid pro quo, and that is, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, and since politics, that's never happened with us. We scratch niggas' backs, but we got our shit scratched in a different type of way. Feel me? It was no compensation for helping people out, like other people who help each other out in this country, whatever like that. So, but he had underline a sentence, and it said, explaining how Cuban refugees in Miami were able to economically and politically surpass and subordinate blacks in Miami within 1 decade. A Cuban told me, we are not like black people who always march, demonstrate, then beg. We demand what we want. Blacks have petition, and then that was the quote. We demand what we want, and it stopped right there. So he was saying, people that's so-called Cuban, they demand what they want, and he was like, blacks have petitioned for freedom and equality, but never demanded quid pro quo, compensation for their political loyalty, labor, patriotism, and cultural contributions. I was just like, damn. I was like, shit. I was like, that's a good ass point. I was like, but that just goes like, it goes with, I'm gonna get into what y'all, joining. Did he put it in the chat? I ain't want to mess the name up.
Oh yeah, it's right there. In the banner, you might be see it right there. The APRP.
I'm still.
Right.
As far as
I'm in StreamYard.
yeah, bro.
Like, yeah, check right below where our faces are. You see it?
You want the actual?
Oh my god!
Site. Oh, you good?
No, I'm tweaking.
You good?
What
you were saying, Amos Wilson said something real similar to that in one of his lectures in the 90s. He was like, we need to actually look at this LGBTQIA plus movement, because he's like, he copies what they said in the 90s, where he was like, they said, we're here, we're in your face, we're here, and we're queer, and you're gonna have to deal with us whether you like it or not. And he says the black community as a unit does not do that. So I feel what you're saying right there, because it's like we're not demanding, we're asking, and we've been asking since the 60s. So I feel that.
You feel like protesting in the streets is kind of like us asking and not demanding?
Protesting is just a symbol. It's just a symbol. It's just a way to organize. Like everything that I've seen so far, that I've read and lectures, everybody's been saying protests are really only for organization. You get it out there just knowing like everybody's pissed off, but then once you got that energy all in one place, you need to organize it after that. Like you can't just mobilize and then disperse after, like, oh yeah, we want freedom, liberation, black power, we don't fuck the police, blah blah blah, and then you leave. No, you got to have that plan afterwards, and you also have to organize and construct all that energy in one manifestation to bust through,
Yeah.
And that's what other brother in here. How you doing? What's good?
What's up, bro?
I was listening to I know a lot of people don't mess with I don't know if they do or they don't, but Dr. Umar, he was saying that too. He was just like, because DJ Envy asked him, he was like, after the protest, nothing goes on after that. Organization wise, like, we just doomed and boom, and then we out, and then just like shit. But at the same time, he said it in the quote here too. He said, we have a non-competitive attitude towards politics anyway. It's like you're not competitive in politics like we are in sports. You feel me?
Yeah,
We not. You just because a lot of people be like, it's not really for us. I ain't trying to fuck like that. And that's cool if you have that mindset to be like, I ain't trying to politics like that. But just know that everything you do is almost based on politics.
exactly.
Almost from going to the store and buying something is politics. So you saying I don't fuck with that, it's almost like you cut yourself in the leg.
Exactly.
So just like that's what we'll be doing forever. That's what we've been doing for a minute. It's on out of any type of reason, out of fear or whatever type of reason, we just been doing it. So it's just like it's time that we switching that joint up,
I think to the point of like this for that quid pro quo, what you were just talking about.
Yes, sir.
At,
Yes,
at,
sir.
at a large level, that means bargaining power. That means political power. That means we can actually affect something that is needed by our other party, or whoever reaching across whatever aisle, whether that's racial or political, that comes with bargaining power. Oh wow, if we don't comply with this is going to mess up some aspect of our two-way relationship, right? It's going to mess up this synergy, but we got to be able to press in that way on the system, and we have we do have that, as far as our vote goes, but as far as politically organizing, socially organizing, or even economically, being able to direct our dollars, and that to directly translate to influence is important. We have to be able to be in a position to really leverage that, and I think that's what organizing, is about.
I think to the point of what Nolly was saying, as far as we're not involved in politics, I think that's just like one of those things that you kind of get complacent, you get used to the way it is. Possibly, like I don't know, I can be in everybody's head on what it, but I know historically people are written where people say like, "Oh, yeah, politics is for white folks." like when I read stuff back in like the civil rights era, when they was just trying to convince people, like, "Yo, no, you need to be in on it. Like, don't think that you can't influence this somehow. Now you need to learn because." When the feminist movement came on and they said the personal is political, like they hit it right on the nail. Like you said, every single thing you do. So it's kind of interesting when people say that they're not really interested in politics, or they're not looking at these conventions or seeing what people are actually moving out here, and like how we talked in the past, like actually going to these town hall meetings, actually looking up who actually is on that ballot, because like you pull up there, like I'm not going. The last time, 2016, I pulled up, knew none of the names, bro. Knew none of them names. I felt so bad in there because I was like, I might be putting in somebody that is definitely cool with that 3 strikes and you're out. Like I don't, and I felt wrong, like sitting there even voting for somebody I didn't know, just because they blue, or like
Yeah,
on the
true.
other side where they just voting just because they red. You don't know what their intentions really are for you.
That's an
I
interesting
think
point.
that's huge, especially considering like partisan politics. Like you don't know who these people are, but just because they have the Democratic stamp or the Republican stamp, you're like, oh, all right, well, yeah, let's go for him.
That's the right option.
And
That's
see,
kind of what I
and
did.
that's because the brother said it too. He said we play politics just to play.
Yeah.
And that like he's like the most we get is personal satisfaction that the candidate that we supported won. And if that's what it is, like then we in it, and you playing it wrong, you playing the game wrong. Like, you already traveling, like you done. You ain't playing, how the others play for the benefits of winning or being in a
Like, you
winner
don't
circle.
really
That's
want to.
everybody else play politics for. That's why they shit. That's why shit.
I do appreciate that point that you made though about oh dang, it's frozen. Oh, that point that you made when he says we're more competitive in politics. I mean, more competitive in sports than politics. Like, like the politics is the
Yeah,
real thing, dog. That's the real.
and yeah, and there's no knock on us still playing sports. You feel
Right.
me? I mean, for one, it is, but it's not. It's not no more because so many of us do it. I seen a documentary about sports about black athletes actually, and I
You
didn't
saw
know myself that.
that 3 hour,
Huh?
that 3 hour, like 2 or 3 hours.
I don't think it was that long. It's on a YouTube channel called Real Black.
I think
I
it's
don't
on
think it
the
was
same.
that long. That's a long documentary. It's on
They
it's
talked
on a
about
YouTube channel called Real Black.
they talked about Jack Johnson in there, like going all through all the greats
It
and this.
did. Is it 3 hours?
And, like, all the,
It's about YouTube. Yeah,
yeah,
but before Jack, it, it started with hooping. And they
yeah,
was talking about how we was look blacks down upon people for playing sports because it was just to entertain white folks.
exactly,
I was just like, damn,
exactly,
I did not know that. I was just like, damn. And but once you just look in any sport, that's what it is. It's just entertainment, and
exactly.
that's just another form of human interaction. And so that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with that. But like the brother was saying in the book, he was saying on the business side of things. Like I was saying, let's switch it up. Since we are in sports, a lot of us are now. He was saying, okay, why don't we own like the manufacturing business for the people who make the basketballs, for the people who make the cleats? Why don't we do something? We not in the stuff where people make this jerseys and shoes. Like we not in those more facilities like those that's in our sports. We just do the sports and it's like shit. Most of the sports don't even, if you look at statistically wise, most of us don't last in the sports that long.
Yeah,
Football, it's like what, like 4 5 years limit?
football's
That's 3
3 years.
years. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So it's just like if you're gonna get into the sport, like we can get into it. It's like when most of us stop playing, then we start working a job with somebody else's wife, and just like nigga, it's like revolving doors. The cycle keep moving like that. So it's like damn, I love that Gregory too.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
that's why
Dick
whoever
Gregory had a
I love you, nigga.
yeah.
This nigga
I was
said,
reading Dick Gregory's book on I think it's called Defining Moments in History, and he talks about how there are different types of labor, and there's like production. There, I can't remember the second type, but the third type was like the entertainment realm, like singers, music, actors, and we haven't had
Sport
the
athlete.
opportunity. Yeah, and athletes and stuff in that area, and we haven't had the opportunity to like be in control of things like production, manufacturing, and that we've only had aspirations to fall into that third level of labor. And until like black people start like I want to own a manufacturing business, or I want to and until those things become real goals, we're not going to have real control over our capital and our labor in America. But to that point about sports, man, I really think that like black athletes, because let's just be real, bro. If black athletes weren't playing basketball, we wouldn't watch that shit.
Right.
If we weren't playing football, if we weren't playing football, we wouldn't like people wouldn't watch football, like
Bro,
and
Bro, it wouldn't
I,
even be look. That's why he said culture, like everything that we did, like that's part of the culture. You feel me?
yeah,
So like that's like the big debate now. Like, oh y'all just athletes, y'all need to just stick to that and not speak on politics. And niggas is like, no nigga, we speak on whatever. Cause we still pay whatever for they still in the politics anyway, regardless of how much money a nigga make or not. So that's my
right.
thing. But you right, hell yeah.
So why don't like all the rich black, rich basketball athletes? Because now we see that all you really need is like one or two realms for like one or two arenas for playing basketball. Because they're doing it right now in the bubble. They got like two different courts where they play. Why they just don't all lead the NBA and the white owners, or the NFL and all they white owners go buy a stadium, go get some people to film it, and have ownership of them playing and
Come
everything.
up.
Like, I feel like that makes more
Exactly.
sense for black athletes rather than working
Yeah.
for all these white team owners. And
But that's
That
that's where you get
that's
into like
that's the
legal
biggest
stuff,
thing. And yeah,
contracts, legal stuff, and the barriers to entry. You know what I'm saying? The money, like I
more
mean,
politics.
getting the arena to do it, ownership of your merchant, like everything we talking about, ownership of your merchandise, manufacturing, all of that. Like the NBA is like it's y'all should look up the business structure of the NBA, man. Like
They ain't got
look up
time,
like
people.
I mean,
it's
when
like
you
a
look at the business
cooperative, like
structure, I think you
yeah, it's
could do that. Like, I think
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Negro
Mm.
leagues, they use like the antitrust laws and stuff like that to kind of break that up. But then now, because they're trying to do so much, I'm just be real. Like, white people are trying to come back up and find different schemes to make that money. Like, we have the same opportunity that they have. I think the biggest thing that we get out of we don't do is like the brother was saying is like we got to put the plan together. A lot of times the only reason it doesn't happen, it doesn't exist, is because it's not. And I hate to piggyback when people say, "Oh, we have no leadership. We have no leadership," but we really don't. And we can see that in a lot of the things we're talking about. They're just they're tangible. They can get done. All it takes is people that want to do the job, want to do the work, right? But we just don't have the people saying like, all right, I'll take this on my chest, right? I'll be in charge of film. I'll be in charge of the black sports leagues, right? And then just putting it together because we got people all day, every day, talented as hell. They just don't
To
even
me,
make it to that
that
1%.
that that is leadership.
Yeah,
I think
But on what the brother was saying, like that to me, because you were saying when you don't have leadership, I feel like like we as a people, we specifically don't need like a specific leader because we like I know the cliche is like we are our own leaders, and what you was just saying when you get into those different realms of I just want to do the film like take responsibility on that. That's leadership, and people understand. People think the leader always got to be the top guy. Like, bro, even the king needed people to help him out. Those are all different type of leaders, and I think we stick to more of like like the status of somebody to have something to do something. Like, no, we all still like that strong leader. Just to piggyback what you was just saying, you feel me? Because I do agree with you though, definitely.
I think on one level, just as men, we just got out the habit of taking leadership and ownership of our place in the world. Like, all right, so what you do art, you got to be the best artist that this world's ever seen, not juxtaposed to someone else to say like I'm better than so and so and all these people. But no, I come up, I wake up every morning, and like this is what I do. I'm an artist, right? That way, that inspires people coming from you. Like there are people that like in the activism space, like they tiptoe, they put their foot in, they take it out and stuff like that. But then you got people that like there are people that really think it's time to shed blood, right? That's not a time to shed blood. It's time for conversation. It's a time to step up, take ownership of your skin as a black man, as a black woman, as a human being, and say like, look, this is what my people need, right? Like that's why I love what y'all are doing. And when Zach sends you the link, it says like tune in, like I'm tuning in because what y'all did is say like, yo, fuck, there's not people having these conversations. I'm gonna take ownership of my ability to read and do research, my ability to take ideas and then disseminate what I'm thinking about it. Like that every day, we gotta do that in little microcosms. Like people get on
facts.
LeBron because he's dabbling in politics and basketball. Him as a man, he's a human being. He gotta dabble in politics. It affects his life, right? Just like we asked Drew Brees his opinion, yeah, he botched this statement, right? Him as a man still got to get that opinion, right? Whether we agree or not, we got to be okay being wrong. I'm wrong every day on something that I put out, something that I say, right? But at the end of the day, like I make sure that I do the research, I do the understanding, and I come out there again, right? We got to stay out there, jump off the porch and be out there because there are kids coming up that don't think they even don't know how to read. Each one of us right now, we know the primary thing that got us to where we are is we know how to read and write. As a community, we got out of making sure that all of us come up and we can read and write baseline. Once we get back to that where people are reading and writing and they're proficient, there's nothing that can go over our heads. Every time we sit down and have these conversations, everybody comes together and they want to be politically educated. Because like one thing that I've researched and found is that the biggest thing is we have a 47% literacy rate. That means we're expecting people that don't understand what's being said to make decisions on conversations that they never in a million years could put the pieces together in. We know that they're putting legislation in legal terms where they're trying to get people out of it. And so, like, on one level, our baseline is making sure that people understand what they're reading. Every election season, like, yo, this is exactly what this is. They say that, or even with medicine, right? And everything they read. If this medicine says that you're going to take this vaccine and you're going to be bleeding out your ears. If you've never bled out your ears before, right? No, you don't want to take that vaccine. Because it's the one thing in the world that's going to make you bleed out your ears. People not reading that, like, yeah, Trump, let me get that vaccine. Right.
I think Kemp even had a recent.
And the video games, I'm about to say, because my boy Zach don't play no games like that. Video games and just like the entertainment, just in your face, want to have some shit in your face, plays a part in that shit. Feel me? Like, that just people be on the games way more. I mean, I forgot what the quote was, but he was just like, it's like again, to me, there's nothing wrong with that, but you gotta have the balance. We're entertaining ourselves more than reading and writing. And I could, and that's just how we grew up. I had the fucking Game Boy Advance. We like, feel me? Like, that just had a system like bred us to be like that on some entertainment shit. Like, so what was you about to say to that?
The Game Boy, because like you gotta think like on Instagram, I can
they catch you when you little.
Like some phenomenal black artist, illustrator. Zach's cousin designed like he's a programmer. Like he's nasty with it, right? You could take those artists, you could take Zach's cousin, they could put together their own video game where it looks like us. It's teaching us lessons of our history, of where we need to be, what we need to do as a culture. And that's what I mean when we gotta take the ownership of like, yo, if I'm gonna be like I love Zach's cousin because he took the ownership. He's like, yo, I'm good with software. I'm good with apps. Like if you need any web platform, any app design, let me do that for you. Right now, anytime there's somebody in business, I make sure to give his number to make an app. Right, these artists like, yo, I'm trying to design a comic book because shit, I know we're the only ones that don't have anime and manga like that. This where's us, our stories, African stories, right? Fuck that. These people charging $25 to design what this man got on his shirt in our image and our likeness. Man, we gotta get on stuff like that. Because one, like, all right, we know that it's on a surface level of understanding. All right, fuck it. Let's go ahead and put the money into making it right where they gotta understand it and just care to build them up to that platform. Cause y'all all beautiful brothers. Y'all gonna have kids. And it's not fair that only our kids get the benefit from what we're doing, how we're moving. Right. It's like we gotta dare to even just say, like, fuck it, like the platform that y'all built, right? I start to share it to as many people as I can because people need to hear y'all voices, y'all minds, right? So that they kids.
Appreciate that.
And look, we need to hear their minds. I think that's a huge part of this is getting other people involved. And like you were saying, bro, we gotta have one person thinking this and one person thinking that, and then we coming together and creating a synthesis about what we really think about these two views or however many views. And to the point of taking ownership, bro, I think if people like LeBron James, like if they could take ownership over what they do, like true ownership, then you couldn't tell LeBron James to shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? And and also, like, what does it mean? I seen Donald Trump on TV talking about LeBron. They asked him, like, who do you think is better, LeBron or Michael Jordan? He was like, oh, Michael Jordan. He's way better just because, LeBron James is too political. And it's like, yo, what does it mean that our president could say some shit like that? Like, it's bullshit. Go ahead, Zach. I see you were trying to unmute.
A few things. As far as the apps, I see our bro Brother Danilo put in there. That's look up Brandon Long on Instagram, bro, and he got you, bro. Cause man, I got some ideas for some apps. I just need the funds, bro. Cause for instance, like this whole Breonna Taylor situation, like I have ideas. I ain't gonna put them out there on the internet yet. Cause like this is too special, and I ain't trying to have the feds on me anytime soon until I got some more conscious thinkers with me. Cause I know it's power in numbers. So what's in my head ain't gonna be good right now. But definitely check them out, bro. Brandon Long on Instagram. But I think what y'all exactly what you said, Cam. Like we trying to get more thinkers in here because as we talked about last week or 2 weeks. That's last week, right? Last Tuesday when we talked about social dilemma, and I relate that to how we become conditioned in society and how me being an educator and understanding like through reading a lot of Amos Wilson's work, reading Carter G. Woodson's Miseducation of the Negro, and when you start actually analyzing what our system is, even just reading like Rich Dad Poor Dad, even though it's capitalist propaganda, I learned something from it. Like white folks miseducated too, so I understand like we all miseducated to an extent. But I see how everything wants us to think less. You put the phone in your hand, you ain't thinking. Your dopamine is just going up. You scrolling. You put the TV in front of you. I swear I grew up on TV. Like I tell people all the time, Tyler Perry taught me how not to treat a woman because his movies used to be on all the damn time. Or used to want to be like Static Shock, bro. Like Static Shock means so much to me because we ain't had that many other black superheroes besides the Black Green Lantern. It didn't make no sense because I knew there was a white one. So I was like, where you coming from, bro? Hold on, no, no, no. So it's like growing up, realizing like, dang, they really took me away from reading because I
Like
used to
mom
read.
fucks.
I paused. I fucked up. Oh, my bad, my
No, I
bad.
just said they mom fuckers.
Yeah, exactly. We get mindfucked because I used to be an avid reader in elementary school. Then nigga, you get more technology, you get more of these material things that don't have any intrinsic value to your progression as a person, your progression within your people, and how you actually can help your people. And it kind of puts you in your own little world.
Spiritual.
Just like with social dilemma, you get so individualized that you're not even working to progress your people. You don't even see how your people being affected in Africa are still affecting you here, or your people being affected in
You still
Brazil are you still connected, bro. Like it's like every single thing is out here to keep us from thinking. Just to keep it, and I try to tell my students all the time. I was like, in each school I've been at, I'm like, do you understand? It used to be illegal for you to know how to read. It was illegal. Do you know how impactful that is? Just think about that. Like what your enemy doesn't want you to have is what you need to be going towards. What your enemy tells you not to question, you need to question. Like, don't sit there and you can't sit there and think of politics as just politics. Mao Zedong there's a quote that I love, and I'm gonna repeat it until people fucking get this shit. That politics is war without bloodshed. War is politics with bloodshed. You are at war all the time. You may not be in war, but you are at war all the time. And you need to know who your enemy is. You can't sit here and just be walking around thinking like, oh, life is all good. Like, oh, that's that white folks stuff. Or like, shoot, I mean, America just gonna nuke somebody. You can't have that type of thoughts because you don't know. And if you haven't really analyzed history, you're gonna be screwed up. Like McGarvey talks about, if you don't know your history, you're like a tree without roots. Amos sits there and talks about how education, the purpose of education is the survival and the progression of your people. It is not to sit there and learn how to work and make more money for these other companies. That makes no sense. Why am I going to sit here and spend 40 years of my life making Bezos richer, making Bill Gates richer? Like, no, I need to make my people, like my people got some struggles. I need to help my people out at some point. Like that's why I love that county, that 19 families. And after this, I'm gonna let y'all speak. I know I'm talking about, but that 19 families that got together to buy that land here in Georgia. I just hope that we have some brothers and sisters somewhere in these companies that sit there and are ready to take that leap of faith and bring their business there and become the catalyst of a new movement, because Atlanta wasn't always the capital. Savannah used to be a capital one time. Louisville, Georgia used to be a capital at one time. Like, understand things aren't always the way they are, and you can change that. So if you can go down there to where that family is and start bringing in more black, make a true black Mecca, like because our Atlanta's not becoming a black Mecca anymore. Like just like Chocolate City in DC, it's not about to be Chocolate City no more. It's about to be white chocolate, bro. Like you need to make a legit black Mecca. And like how we did before with Kenny, and I learned that people that took AP, it's like an AP class, I forgot what it's called, but like learning how to actually build a city. Like, what all do you need in that city? What brings people to your city? Like, figure that stuff out. Create 100-year plan. Don't have no 10-year plan, no 15, no 25. 100-year plan, a 200-year plan, a 500-year plan, and set that shit now. It's not like and start on that. But that's me. My bad. I know I'm
And man,
talking.
like you were saying, like Atlanta being a black mecca, man. I just feel like Atlanta is caught up in the flashy lights, the entertainment. You know, I feel like a lot of people worried about the wrong things here. Like, we need to be, like I was saying, we need to be worried about means of production. Like in that 90 acres, man, we don't need to be Black Hollywood. We need to be producing goods that we can sell and own. You know, that has to be a part of it.
Black Silicon Valley.
You muted, Kenny. You muted.
Oh
I
dang.
love what you guys
Cool,
said,
good call.
just because like I do think the most important thing for us moving forward is if we are going to remain Africans in America and make America a dominant part of our identity going forward. I mean, because for a lot of people, like we don't want to go back to Africa. I'm not gonna say we as if I don't want to go back to. I'm waiting. I think next time, like first time I go, I'm kissing sand. I'm kissing the dirt just to give homage. But to be real, like the most important thing for us is a black state, having our own state that we can go to, that we can congregate, where we're policing ourselves, we're governing ourselves. The economic power and taxation of the collective black identity in that state goes to educating, to hospitalizing, to taking care of the essential things that it needs to take care of community, and then progressing from there. Until we have like that homeland, right? What I tell people all the time is that as a
A
black,
real
we lack
home.
originality,
Exactly.
right? So the difference between me is like somebody from Washington D.C., right? That's all I have, Washington D.C. Some people say, "Oh, I'm from Nigeria, I'm from Ghana, I'm from Haiti, I'm from Jamaica," and that gives them pride, that gives them a sense of power, a sense of self. For us, you know, if you're straight black, and I hate to say it to where there's not a pride in that, but like if you are a black American, right, you got to just go with the state that you're from. There's not a pride in, "Oh, I'm from America." But if there is a collective state, then you could argue that like, yeah, you have to be proud of being an American, and you can be proud of that. But until then, you know, there is the feeling where like we kind of gotta feel the philosophy of the red, black, and green. Like, do we gotta be Pan African fully and build something to where there's a place in Africa we can go to and identify, or are we gonna do it here? And so I think it's beautiful, and a lot of what you guys are saying, because Atlanta, a lot of people feel like that's the black mecca right now. But I love what my man just said. He said we gotta stop playing Hollywood and whatever. Like it was fly what he said. But I love
I feel like we can connect because almost how with the organization y'all going, which I just looked it up too, AAPRP. You know, when it's talking about connecting with brothers over there in the other continent or even brothers in the Caribbean islands, I feel like, you know, since our money in certain places there have more value since we have the American dollar and our money is more in certain places. I feel like since we don't go to those places enough, because I read about why we don't go over there because we Americanize and all that shit too. But since we don't have go over there enough and have that perspective of just the scenery over there, like fuck what somebody told you about a place. What is your perspective at that area in any type of country in Africa? And it's
Facts.
crazy
And we
because
gotta go
even
through
when
each one of
Go
those
go
titles,
visit.
man.
Go visit.
exactly,
Like
and
people go on
I've never been
vacation.
to. Exactly. I've always been an open minded person to be like to even think that for myself. Like, man, I've never been there. I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's fucked up over there since such and such. And then it's crazy because my perspective even changed when I met brothers that was from the continent there. Not even they even had a more pride for their shit, but they was just like, you know, when they came over here, it was just like, bro, I never seen any type of that type of homelessness or the shit that I seen in the commercials here. I was just like, damn. And then it was like, you know, I didn't know people in America was homeless like that. I was like, damn. I was just like, so it's just once you're not at other places, you get that perspective of, oh, I don't want to such and such. Man, it's like we need to have that open mind to be like, no, we need to it needs to be like a for us to just at least visit those places as a whole. Feel me? Not just a
Hmm.
few of us. Maybe you hear somebody over there, but as a whole, we need to goddamn go over there. You feel me? Like whatever the case may be, and just get the perspective. You feel me? I don't give a fuck what it is. Just get a perspective for ourselves, so we don't be stuck in our mindset like, oh, what you seen on TV. It's like that perspective is dead. Like that shit hella dead. Once you got brothers over there, look, it's way more brothers over there look just like that, look just like us, and then that's like us having this like, cause even brothers over there, they still this conversation even it's universal. This conversation that we having. I remember I changed the brother's perspective. He was from the continent. I forgot. I think he was from Nigeria, and he was talking to me about voting Democrat, whatever like that. And I'm just like, my brother, you got to understand that. I know you from another. You know, we the same people, but my roots here is deeper than yours. You feel me? So my family roots on some American shit been through more bullshit with these folks over here than your folks been over here. You feel me? So it's a different political system from over here than over here. So I was like, my brother, you gotta understand that I'm not gonna vote for nobody that I don't know a fuck about. I don't give a fuck what somebody told me about this person. I'm not about to, even if I do vote for you, what are you giving me back in return for me and my people that you done fucked over for the past 400 years from through Jim Crow? Like, well, y'all done all that fucked up shit, and then y'all still lie to us on some on all through political shit. Y'all keep lying to us. So I'm just like, bro, you don't understand how much they lie to us and do that political deception on us. You don't understand deception. That's part of war. You feel me? You not understanding that, you done missed the whole fucking game. I'm just like, bro, so just that as a whole, I'm just like, bro, and us going over there, just to keep that perspective and to not be deceived all the time. We need to keep that in our heads wholeheartedly. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to touch on one part that you just said, and then I kind of want to segue into the Breonna Taylor verdict. But and y'all can add more if you want as well, by the way. But one thing that I didn't really fully take in, like, you learn things when you're growing up, but you don't actually take it into like, how do I analyze this as far as how it impacts me or in relation to me and my people or whatever. So I forgot all about how people that are they identify as Jewish have this whole birthright trip, dog. And in my head, I was like, wait. And then I didn't really fully have the full concept of, oh, if your mother's Jewish, then you Jewish. So I started putting all this together, and I was like, hold on. So you mean they want a race, 2, a nation, 3, a religion? So they got all this together, and they get birthright. Like, they get a free trip back to Israel, which really ain't their land, Palestinians. So then they get to go back there, and I was like, wait a second, we don't have no birthright trip back to Africa. Like, I don't get to go back to the country there for free. Like, they get to, but I don't get to. Like, my nation doesn't get to establish itself. Like, but they get to establish theirs, and then get the American government and all the, like, NATO and all them behind them too. But mine can't get that. I can't get, like, I may not know exactly where I'm at, where my people are, most likely Nigeria or somewhere in Western Africa, which I'm gonna figure out too. But like that, I want a trip back home too. Like, they can go home, take me to Zion in Ethiopia, and take me to Egypt, just take me somewhere. Like,
I forgot where I read at, but they actually did do something like that. And like, I think maybe, like, if I'm not mistaken, like the 1800s. But the time we came over here to the time that happened, I think we was already here for like 200 years, whatever the case may be. So they say. But the deception on how they changed it, we was already so-called Americanized. So we just like, my nigga, why the fuck I want, just like how we say now, why the fuck I want to go to Africa, nigga, ain't shit, but I don't know about over there. So that's why they didn't even, that's why, like, government shit didn't even do that shit. Cause they was like, y'all niggas said y'all didn't want it. Cause y'all don't, it's like they tricked us to even being Americanized. So we don't even, cause they only have to know the birthright. Since y'all would know, they don't even know what the picture of us out there. You was a fucking, people over there they got was what, prisoners of war. So I'm like, nigga, you could be from anywhere, that motherfucker, like, nigga. But I agree with you saying. Like, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I want to go back to any type of Egypt or any type of shit. Like, fuck with it, like, you feel me? But definitely, bro.
And I think there are.
they made it. They were like, oh shoot, they got all the gold, the salts, the seasons. They got everything there. Shit, let me tell them ain't shit there, so they ain't want to go back. Let me tell them they got nothing but huts, so they ain't gonna
Right,
go
the jungle.
back. Yeah,
Man,
And
the
I think it
analogy.
presents their own challenges out there in Africa.
And
But
not only that,
I was saying I think there's his own challenges out there in Africa. But like, you know, there aren't cops just killing innocent people. That's not a challenge. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to go out there and really build something for themselves, something that is African. And as much as black people need help here, Africans need help in Africa because there are a lot of still like colonial powers out there in Africa controlling resources, controlling land,
and once
and
they family were here with us, these niggas fucking us.
yep, facts is global.
I'll say
Facts,
this
but it's
again.
global. Definitely, it's very global. It's very global. That's what I learned too. I'm just like, damn, like they fucking up over there too like this. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Somebody
Yeah.
Heard of the EFF in South Africa, the Economic Freedom Fighters, with Julius Malema?
Nah, never heard of that.
Say it
I haven't
again, bro.
heard of that either.
So
I've been told. I ain't read it.
think of like how we have like Congress, like the Democrats, the Republicans, right? What they did is they started their own party, the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, and they're basically their biggest thing is redistribution of land without compensation. So basically, right now in South Africa, 80% of the African black population lives on 20% of the land. The other, what is it? The other 80% of the land, the 10% or I think it's 6.7 percent of the white population lives on that land, and then they use the business for the rest of it. And so basically, when we think in the modern day of what we need to be doing politically, like they're setting an example every day. But what they say, and even in Zimbabwe, and shit, like even with the ECOWAS, the new West African economic pact that they put together, each one of them are saying that the one thing that would change the trajectory of where Africa is going is if we had a mix and almost like a reintegration of Black African minds, right, with African skill, ability, and resources. Because one of the problems that they have in Zimbabwe is that they have all this land where they took the white farmers out, but unfortunately, right, a lot of us that are there don't know how to farm, right? But there are black farmers here in the States. They could go over there and give some guidance, right? There are. So
No, I was surprising to hear that they, because that was at a point that was one of our only jobs in America was black folks like farming. So I was just surprised when you said that they didn't know how to farm. Just like for real, but yeah, keep going, brother. I was still listening.
it seems as if they divided and conquered in the most insidious but strategic way, to where on one level they took the Africans still on the continent with the resources and made sure that once they took the resources and control it, they brought in not only in the modern day the Chinese, but back then their own Europeans, right? So now the Africans there, they really have to just do like hand craftsmen things. They're not able to get into the machine farming and the more the mass farming, right? Then in America, right, we're not even focused on agriculture as much as we should be. So that even if we did have like a mass group of educated black farmers, we don't even have the ability to take them over there to Africa to change the mindset and then teach agriculture the same way a white person or Asian man can come over there and teach them the same way. So then when you go to what is going on the continent, like you got Ghana. Ghana has the right to abode act, where all of us right now we can go to Ghana, we can get full
Go, yeah,
full citizenship, right, and we'll be American and Ghanaian, right?
yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of us like we can't jump on that because you do want pride in what it is. Like Zach said, like I don't know yet if I'm from Nigeria or if I'm from South Africa or Zimbabwe, but it matters. And so to get the blood test or find out somehow, like I don't want to ruin it by just going to Ghana and just saying like, all right, right to a boat, you get the paperwork, because then I, on some way, I hate that it feels like fronting. Like it eats me up that it feels like fronting to say like, all right, I'll just pick Nigeria because I know that the slaves in the Chesapeake region they were particularly picked out of the Nigeria region from the Igbo tribe, right? That feels like fun. To say, all right, I'm gonna go to Ghana and sign the paperwork, that feels like fun. So what do y'all think is the best way to even give our own self that sense of identity so that we could even take the chance of like going over there and say, all right, I have a business in America, I'm gonna also make sure I have a business here. Because I mean, mad Uber
Mhm.
drivers that their only reason of doing Uber is to put hella American dollars over there in Nigeria, right? So there's one dude who had a poultry farm. He was doing Uber so that I think I met him in 2018. His goal was to have 20,000 poultry, turkey, chicken, and like fowl like that, right, by 2020, right? And then he was done. He's out the business. He was going back to Nigeria. He was living on a high horse, right? You telling me like that's all it takes is that type of time of this hustle, right? To
Yeah.
live in Nigeria like good with his family.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing because I I tell some other people as well where I don't want to go back to Africa, and I'm gonna take that African ancestry test to figure out which tribe my fam is or my through my maternal DNA and whatnot. But I don't want to go back to Africa without having something to bring to contribute. So I feel you on that. Like, and I'm my students. We just now did some hydro how do you call it,
Phonics.
hydroponic
Yeah.
gardening. So I'm sitting there like, well, shoot, how could I take that back there? How can what can I take back? Because like you said, I thought of that same thing. I was like, shoot, you mean to tell me maybe we can crowd fund 20,000, and then now I got a nice setup out there. Like we can make a business out there. We
Right.
can do something that contributes to society there and funnel money from here back there. So it's I think of that same exact concept.
I'm all over that idea. First I'll say that I think there's two main things that I guess us being in America affect. There's two main ways to control resources, right? That's ownership and that's access. You feel me? Ownership and access. So if I say you can't have access to this, now somebody else owns it, you have to pay for that kind of access. You have to your taxes, any kind of laws or regulations, and
Terrorists.
ownership. Tariffs, right? And you can control the flow of resources through ownership and access. So what I'm basically saying in the context of the conversation is we need to have access and ownership of a home. So if you think about the Homesteading Act, the homesteading was people going west as far as they could and claiming land in the United States. That was like, people going and like homesteading, finding land they could live
Type
on.
of capital.
Exactly right. And you, for as far as you could ride in a day, and you get that stake and you put it out there, that's what you own. But what we're talking about with agriculture is the reason why agriculture is was important to a certain kind of economy of people, like a self-sustaining economy, was if you had ownership and access of your land, you could grow food, you could have a house. Transportation happens over land. That's the closest you get is with agriculture. When you get into industry and capital and goods, now it gets into other people owning something. And I think there's benefits from interdependencies, but when that's out of balance, you end up with inequality in the economic system, right? And so like and more to the aspect of like making Africa someplace movable. Like one of my friends was breaking it down to me. He said, okay, bro. He said, okay, think about a place you want a vacation that's outside of the United States. How much would that cost you? Okay, figure out what that would cost you to go to Africa just to visit, any place, right? Think about what that would be. And then think about next steps would be, okay, how much would it be to actually transport your stuff from here to there, right? Figure these numbers out. When you get there, how much would it be to buy land, right? And I think the idea of us funneling money over there is a good idea. And I also think it's a good idea to think about what would it mean to develop your own currency as an African nation, right? I think developing your own, think about what Bitcoin is, right? Think about what Bitcoin would empower, with people being able to create their own types of cryptocurrencies and how you can change value. You can change the value of a coin based on what it's being used for. The people who are using it can determine the value of that. So now you're able to form a economic system in another country and define and or some in some ways influence certain values and economic flows by means of production, through labor, by supporting people's basic needs, food, housing, transportation.
I mean, it's sustainability, man. It's all you gotta have that security and sustainability first, and that's what we're trying to get to. Let's see, who would like to start us off on how this Breonna Taylor situation? Because I'll say this: if we did, one way I can segue this is if we did have that self sustainability and that security within our community, a Breonna Taylor situation might not happen. A Dejon Kizzy situation might not happen. An Ahmaud Arbery situation would not. So like I think
this whole conversation, not to cut you off, this whole conversation goes into that. Like, you feel me? Like, crazy.
it's really I feel like it's the overline factor of like if we had this, then this wouldn't happen. Like these little micro situations wouldn't happen if this was like already established, the overhead or whatever whatever benefits us, our culture within ourselves, that
Structure.
our structure exactly, like our own legit a black code that we live by. Not like we have religious codes, we have political codes. We're one of the only ones that don't have a unsaid code.
You got a sports code.
Yeah, but it's like I just with Breonna Taylor situation,
Oh,
I just I want to ask y'all, how do y'all feel about that? Anybody that's watching, please contribute as well. And again, remember, you can also join in if you have a lot to say. Link is in the caption, because it's a lot to take in. That it's another signifying moment that our people, our women, can have their bodies taken, be violated, and as a black man that's conscious, as a black man that truly does value our people and our women, understanding that without our women there is no us, it pisses me off a lot. And like that day, it's like one of those things where I knew how the outcome was gonna be, but it still got me. And every time I know how it's gonna be because the story is always the same, but it still got me. Like my whole day was screwed over, bro. I was laying on the floor. I didn't do none of my work. I didn't even go to my Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. Like I was just sitting here just so psyched out, bro. I was like, wow. They just said again, you can be taken and no repercussions happen. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I'll say I was at work and I got a notification on my watch and it said officer has been indicted. I was like, yo, that's what's up. Like the officer's been indicted. I just read the headline. But then I got home and I actually looked into it and I saw that what he was indicted for, and I was definitely disappointed, but at the same time, I couldn't say I was surprised. I don't think, and maybe that's just me being pessimistic or me being, I don't know, maybe I'm just conditioned this way, but I don't expect nothing from none of these folks. Like it didn't surprise me, but at the same time, it hurt me. And I've kind of been trying to figure out what I wanted to say in this moment all week. I don't know, man. It's a heavy situation. My words are few and far between. It's hurtful. It's painful. And honestly, it's something I really want to get away from. I'm gonna pass on, man.
I feel like I feel like I remember when I was in. I feel like because I'm a very behind you, Zach. But I think when y'all graduated, or like a year after you graduated, maybe like 2014, I went to Shaq to South Carolina because where he's from, chilling with him, whatever like that, his cousin, stuff like that. And at that time, that's when that it might not be 2014. Whenever the Trayvon Martin situation happened,
That
and
was
they was doing the party. What year was that?
I think it was 12 or 13. 'Cause I remember I was like just getting out of high school, or that was my last year. It
I
was
think it
one.
was like 13, I want to say, because yeah, I came out in 12. I think it
So
was
we got
13.
the internet. We got the internet.
Okay, and
Here.
yeah, and
I want
the
to say
reason
like
I
a
brought that up,
2011 or something.
2012, February
2012.
26,
So, oh,
2012.
it's 2012.
yeah,
Wow.
at least 12. I think it happened in 12. Then the verdict was in 13.
Oh,
Right.
that's
And
what it
so
was.
when
Yep.
that's when it was. And so when the verdict had happened, I remember being in South Carolina with his cousins and his aunts and stuff, right? And we watching the verdict, and it was almost like I didn't know, like I just as a because I'm only like 17, 18, but the mind is just like I never seen these reactions from a mass of people before. And when I first seen the Trayvon Martin thing happen, I was like you was just saying, I was a little bit more conditioned, like, bro, it happened to me. And I feel like we shouldn't have that outlook, but you should have the outlook as in like, man, these folks not gonna do nothing for us. Cause you're right. But that shouldn't make us feel that this should keep happening to us. You feel me? That's not right. But at the same time, why I bring it up is his aunt's reaction when it happened, when they said the verdict and they let him go, she like bust out in tears. And I was just like, damn, shit is this real. I was just like, damn, it made a whole grown woman cry right in front of me off of a verdict. I'm just like, damn. And then it made me think when I seen like I seen the documentary of like the OJ shit, how like people globally around the country was like together excited just for the verdict. I'm just like, damn, this is fucking serious. Because I was living like that real. Like these niggas was that on that shit. So me when it goes to the Breonna case, definitely was not surprised. I was almost like, bro, it's like I was conditioned to it because I looked in and out the case, but I already knew what it was. I was just like, bro, like, and I heard like more things about the case, and I actually think they're actually like they have more evidence about it now that I'm seeing more on the internet of people talk about like not just people talk about more like people that's in like political positions or like police and different administrations talk about like it could be more evidence on the case. And so it's still like something pending with it. But at the same time, I was just like, yeah, I was just like, shit, it's America. Like, this is what she is right now. And it's like, it's not to say that, oh, it's America, this shit ain't gonna do nothing. No, that's why we having this conversation. Like, nigga, I like how Dick Gregory talks about one of his books, like, nigga, America is my mama, nigga. Like, it's like, this is like, we don't know nothing but her. You feel me? So ain't nothing wrong with that either. But at the same time, that can still help us into fixing this bullshit. So that was my whole point. Like, I'm very, very disappointed. And it's RIP to her. And that's crazy for that family. They try to pay that family, even though people love money. That's why they always try to compensate them folks $12 million. I'm just like, wow, just so y'all niggas can get the fuck off. I just wow. And they think they can, and I mean, that they think they can do it, like they have. They've been buying it. So just like I wasn't surprised. I was just very disappointed because when the Trayvon thing happened, it just made me look at shit different because we was around like the same age as brother. And I remember one day looking when I was leaving the house, how our parents felt when we leave the house and all that shit. I looked at my ID and I was just like, damn, that really could have fucking been me. I was just like, damn, like, and just I was just like, it just aligned into other instances to be like, bro, you need to be more on guard on your shit. You feel me? Stop being more gullible to shit. Be on your know when some type of deception is happening in front of you in any type of media political shit. Like that was my whole thing. So, but definitely disappointed in the trial. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm honest. I honestly feel really ripped up by the verdict in the sense that, especially in the sense that it was really a slap in the face in a lot of ways. And I say that in the sense of the charge or the verdict was wanton endangerment. And I've studied law stuff before, but I'm no expert on that. But it it's not murder, right? So and essentially that charge more so addresses the fact that there were certain bullets that didn't actually hit her and it endangered other people around her, but the murder was not factored into that verdict. That's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face. She clearly died, and that was the verdict doesn't even address that. You know, like what? That's how that summarizes how we've been feeling with these performative measures and not addressing the right issues, appearing to be helpful but not being helpful at all. Totally backhanded. You know what I'm saying? A friend of mine, he gave an analogy. He said the relationship that exists between races, the white man and the black man, it's like a white man stealing your car and then offering to Uber you.
What the hell?
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good analogy.
About I said something about somebody burning up, like someone coming to my crib, burning my house down, and then telling me like, "Oh, here's some money for a hotel."
And that's the whole backhanded nature. Okay, the 12 million. Oh, we got a conviction, but it was for all the bullets that missed and none that hit. Are you fucking with me? Like that was salt in the wound for me.
I wanted to just read these real quick. Just a few things about the case, just for some people that may or may not know already. So I like that one. What Taylor said, blood money, always. That's all they be giving. So it said the grand jury, former Louisville police officer Brett Hankinson on 3 counts of wanton endangerment in the first degree in connection with the fatal shooting of Breonna Taylor. The charges drew immediate criticism, and Hankinson is not charged with causing a death, like Kenny said. Rather, the police department said he wantonly and blindly fired into her apartment, shooting 10 rounds. According to the Kentucky statute, someone is guilty of wanton endangerment in the first degree when, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, he wantonly engages in conduct which creates substantial danger of death or serious physical injury to another person. Fun fact about this is it is a Class B felony, the lowest of 4 classes of felonies. The maximum sentence is 5 years. The minimum is 1 year. What do y'all think he's gonna end up with, dog?
So this motherfucker can get 5 years max.
Man, y'all saw that brother in I think he was in
and that's
the black man that
that's
shot a
another
woman.
slap in the face.
But there's another situation where a black man killed a white woman and they gave their family more money and also he was in prison for actually murdering her. They actually convicted him, and he actually got like some serious time off of that. So it's another one of those contradictions in this, United States of America.
I'm gonna go ahead and bring Neil in. We got Neil in the
chat. He get it.
What the hell, dog? Bro, how does this keep happening? Last week was a black horse.
I was almost in disbelief.
Hey man, you know it's gonna be trolls, man.
What happened?
Trying to do something positive, man. People, it's gonna be trolls.
Don't even worry about it, dog.
We ain't gonna bring no
Yeah, you
attention
don't
to
put
it.
your
Yeah,
energy into that.
like I
Because I
mean,
don't know what happened. I'm lost there. I'm like, what are you talking about? I bet. We good.
wow.
Fuck it.
Cam, let's hear what your thoughts about it, man.
I mean, I'm gonna be very honest. Like on one level, for the last let's say 7 years, I've been like politically active, like on the ground. So like I was a part of the Revolutionary Black Panther Party, and when Alton Sterling and Philando Castile got murdered, we did a lot, and we went to Ferguson, and we did a few armed march. The biggest thing that like I've learned just from my time activism, my time just fighting in the struggle is that we're so disjointed that when moments like this comes up, we don't have a singular message of what we want and what we expect. So when we go to protests and we go to marches and we do different things, there's not a all right, I'm here and I'm not leaving until I get these demands met and until these things are accomplished. And so on one level, like it was beautiful that we all gathered, we all kept calling the attorney general's office and stuff like that. But so on one level, I try to hold back what I truly feel, right? But truthfully, I'm pissed off, and I'm angry because we got a responsibility as black men to make sure we protect our women first and foremost. And so, thank God, at least the dude that was in the house with her, like he tried to shoot his gun or whatever. Man, fuck that. Those cops should be dead, right? But they're not, right? And we just got to make sure that the next time something like this comes close, right, that if legally they're not going to handle it, we take care of it because
Thank you.
since slavery, we've had huh?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, since slavery, like one of my biggest problems that angers me is that since slavery, we can't there's nothing that we can do about it, right? But one of the dominant things was to destabilize the relationship between black men and black women, and so they did that by outright brutalizing the black man so that the black woman couldn't feel she could depend on him and have a sense of security, right? And then
Mm,
we tried, because naturally as men we weren't going to be subdued by that, and we made sure that through the years we kept our foot on the throttle, and we didn't just if somebody wanted to lynch us, you just didn't get it easy, right? You lynched a few of us, but you ain't lynch all of us. You didn't kill the entire black race, every black man, child, and woman. And so I guess that's what we're dealing with today, is that they didn't kill us off. And because they didn't kill us off, we kind of found different ways to where we accepted our condition of being black in America, right? But we're still prisoners of war, and so legally, when we're in a court of law and they decide how they're gonna punish somebody for murder, right? It's a different punishment if it's a black body compared to any other body, right? If it's a black woman compared to a black man, right? And we're still doing these destabilizing tactics to make black women and black men hate each other. You gotta think Tory Lane shot Meg the Stallion in the foot, and we debating of if we're gonna support him, listen to his music. Man,
That
what the
pisses
fuck?
me off.
Yeah,
That pisses me
bro.
off.
I was just like, what's the debate?
Yeah,
What's
like
the debate?
Exactly.
I was just
like R.
like,
Kelly, like you
get this
still
nigga
listening
out of
to his
here.
music? Come on now. Like we gotta take responsibility that like, all right, for example, like on one level, Andrew Young, right?
Definitely does.
Good brother, right? He was supposed to do a lot. He was supposed to be the governor of Florida, right? He ended up in some shit, cheating on his wife and all that. Like, all right, regardless of that cheating stuff, right? Let's deal with the fact that you're behaving this way and you should have been governor at that time, right? Now we look out of pocket, right? You're somebody that a lot of people put support and effort, right? But people say, yo, we should forgive him. We should let him slide. People say we
Mhm.
should forgive Tory Lanez. We should let it slide. Fuck no. We don't forgive that. We don't let that slide. We don't take our foot off the pedal. Like we're in this situation because in a lot of ways, right, we let political education slip. We let just being educated, period, slip. Right. We took these positions as okay, Clarence Thomas, I'm Black Supreme Court Justice. Okay, what are
Fuck
you
man.
doing as a Black Supreme Court Justice for your people? Right? You doing nothing, doesn't matter. Right? Obama, I love him to death. right? But there, all right. I just said him killing off Muammar Gaddafi, and now in Libya they're slaves. We gotta deal with that, and we don't
Yeah,
talk about that daily. But you remove Muammar Gaddafi, and then your African brothers and sisters, where you take pride of your African heritage, now are actually in bondage today in 2020. Right? What do we do about that? How do we hold you accountable, right? But then honor you for what you are. I can't, right? But I gotta empower Zach. I gotta empower Jalen. I gotta empower Malcolm. I gotta empower the brother in the middle. Like I gotta make sure that like, yo, y'all know that y'all are the next kings. Y'all the next ones up. That y'all have a crown too. That just needs to be polished. And when something like this happens, like y'all voice needs to boom everywhere. Because there's a bunch of voices saying stuff that are not educated, are not fact based, are not cited, are not strategic, right? And it's just adding a bunch of fodder. I think that's what really disserviced her, right? Is that we got so many opinions, so many voices, and people kind of speaking up out of popularity and celebrity. It's like, yo, maybe if I say something, they'll look at me as the next leader, or they'll take my opinion. Man, fuck all that. A black woman was murdered in her sleep by cops that
yeah,
had a no knock warrant that had no business there. The investigation was failed. Right. We need to hold people accountable for a failure. Right. If in sports we hold you accountable for an interception, those bullets that you missed, that shouldn't be the only thing you're liable for. I heard this one investigation where these cops they did a drug bust. The dudes getting out of the SWAT car, they're falling on top of each other. They let a flashbang out, and then the dude who's doing the interrogation almost shoots a random dude in the head. At every point, all of them need to be in jail, right? But if you're not holding it like that, that means you're allowing a certain level of like carelessness and negligence across the board. That when something like this happens, right, you can't stand in front of all America, of course, and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna hold these cops accountable. They messed up, right? And it's a job that we're letting people do. We gotta think the surveillance that they do with the drug game, that's all illegal. All of that is illegal. Until they put in the Patriot Act, that was illegal. So the fact that we allow them to use illegal police tactics, that we don't hold them at the jugular right there, that they've been doing it for years. And so now that we are a little more passionate, we're not as strategic with the passion. So once we line up our passion and our rightful anger and frustration with strategy and actual plans for how we're gonna make sure hold people accountable. Like I need y'all to know right now it's election season. And where they got us with our pants down is that none of us have right now a contract with every elected official to take qualified immunity off the board. Right. If we were gonna be strategic, we wanted to make sure not another black woman, black man, child, their blood was shed and nothing happened, and that these cops that they go to jail. It starts with ending qualified immunity. It's nothing for us to take a piece of paper, write a line, put an X, and say, "All right, sign off on this." So long as you're elected in the office, right, you're going to end qualified immunity. Until we move like that, like yeah, we gotta expect to be upset because an hour before the verdict, they called you said we have police set up, we have barricades, we have parameters in place for the backlash. They knew they was going to make you upset. They knew they was going to piss you off, right? But then a few months before that, they had Attorney General Daniel Cameron say, "Oh, I'm not gonna let Beyonce influence my." Shut the fuck up. Why are you dealing with Beyonce? Deal with the paperwork. Deal with what's going on in this case, right? There's a lot of prosecutorial misconduct that went on, and it's because even him, he over there playing for celebrity, playing for Mitch McConnell and them, instead of just doing his job, right? He doesn't never need to be elected again into that position, right? And we gotta hold people accountable like that. Like you don't work no more. Like if you fuck up like that, you don't work. You don't eat. Your family's starving, and that's on you as a man. My bad. I went on a tangent.
no, 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 no. I feel you on that because
That's real though.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to actually add in on two things that you said. Because the first part on like for me personally, I feel as though when situations like that happens, and people may say this is radical thinking, but in my mind, it's not radical thinking. I'm not about to let them define what my thinking is in the first place. But two, um, it's more of human thinking, like human, like human instinct. Like if you kill my cousin, I'm gonna want to retaliate. And the only reason I can't retaliate is because we're so disjointed right now. We don't have that one accord. Like we were talking with a friend yesterday, where we speak on how in the Caribbean, people have they are proud of their country, and that is cool to have. Like, be proud of your country, be proud you're Jamaican, be proud you're Haitian, be proud that you're Trinidadian, be proud of all of that. But remember, you black, you're African, you are African. At the end of the day, you are with me. You are family. Me and you are family, and everybody that's here, like in the U.S., United States, like, we're family. So therefore, I should have someone to back me up. Where if I do see that, for instance, I do not wholeheartedly believe Zimmerman should still be alive. Someone should have been able to take him out, and we should have been able to back them up, so that we know the feds ain't gonna get them. And if they come and get them, you got to take us off at that point. Like, we should be at that point by now, but we're so docile that we just acquiesce to anything that is just given to us. When it's like, no, human instinct. You just killed my cousin. You just killed my cousin, dog. And I'm supposed to just watch this every time. Ironic thing is, this was the same exact day as Emmett Till's murderers getting acquitted. So, y'all, now at this point, I'm thinking y'all just playing with me, because you went to Tulsa. You went to Tulsa out there to do your rally on the day that you fucking bombed and bombed. What am I saying? Black Wall Street. Like, you're doing symbolic stuff. And now today, on that specific day, like, it may be ignorant. If it was an accident, then somebody needs to acknowledge that there's a spiritual sense in all of this. There's something more powerful than all of us for that to happen on that same exact day. Either you pay attention, or something more powerful is going on that y'all not really acknowledging, because that's the same damn day, the same damn result for a catalyst and another movement. And it's like I tell my students, I can't be 70 years old still saying no justice, no peace. Like, we should have already done that. And then what you said with the celebrities, where they, like, people pop in and just trying to become cloudivers, be clout chasing now. They people, like, I'm cool with you hopping on the wave, but be serious about it. Show me that you're reading. Like, I seen Shaka Bar's post one day. You haven't read enough for me to follow you. Like, I got into a little debate earlier with a professor. She's a woman that she knows more about feminist ideologies than I know. And she basically gave me that thought. Like, she was like, look, I'm not wasting my energy. I'm gonna tell you to go look here, here, and here, and then come back to me and that's the way I took it and myself. And I was like, okay, cool. I can accept being not as informed as you. I need to go look in and learn this stuff and then come back. Whereas, like, all these people just hopping on social media now, and just like, you haven't went and learned anything to come back. Like, post your stuff, show your solidarity, but then go learn something and bring it back to us. Go learn something and get more people thinking on those type of progressive thought processes. Those things that they like to call radical, that really isn't radical. Like, they calling it radical to get you not think about it, to not do it, to not move forward. They call it MLK radical. So, like, don't and it, like, we can't. I don't know, bro. It's frustrating. We just get caught in letting them define our movement and telling us how we should be moving. It's You haven't read enough, and you ain't my people.
I think it's a good time to bring up the first book that we read, Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between the World and Me. And I bring that up because we're all talking about the threat of the body, and this is a prime example of that. I mean, like, what better example can you get of a woman sleeping in her bed and she has, like, her life has been taken, her body has been taken. And I think it's the perfect time to bring up, like, what Ta-Nehisi Coates was articulating, in the sense of, like, that's the kind of fear that Black people, men and women, live with on a daily basis. And that fear manifests itself in economic ways, in social ways, in mortality. like to the extent of death. And the enforcement that we're talking about right now is physical. We're really talking about physical consequence, and when we really talk about what that means politically and being able to enforce things, we like the following means a body of people. It means a body that can apply pressure, or a body that can affect economics in a way. And any politician or any businessman knows negotiating. He who has the most options has the most power, right? So we should be thinking about, okay, what are our options to apply pressure, whether it be physically, whether it be economically, socially. Like, what alternatives do we have? Because right now it feels like, yeah, we're singing the same song, and the same things are happening, and we haven't been able to successfully apply strategic pressure or meaningful pressure to evoke change. And that's why performative actions become okay, right? That's the environment that allows for something performative to exist. And even getting slapped in the face and it being like, hey, well, what are you gonna do? And that's judicial, that's legislative, like, but that at the end of the day, like Ta-Nehisi said, it's physical. That's our body. So it's interesting being and here's the conundrum that we kind of deal with. It's like protecting our body, but knowing that in our system that means legal, that means judicial, that means economic, that means social. It means all of those things. So like we need to create those alternatives for what we can do. This is slightly off topic, but something that's interesting. If y'all watch Fear City on Netflix, it's about the mob, but the mob control labor unions in large ways, right? And I'm saying that to say that they were giving people pensions, but what they were also doing was affecting stock prices and business deals because of their power with the people, with labor unions. Hey, we're going to the place that controls, okay, what the wages are going to be, who's working, when they're working. And the mob was playing a big political role in influencing the Wall Street, influencing big corporations. That's the kind of thinking for applying pressure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying be the mob, but I'm saying like look at how that was used by them as a political and economic tool.
It's okay to say be the mob.
Well,
Like
shit. Be the
like
mob.
the big thing about what you're saying is that when you look at the mafia, right? We can't demonize it because the government demonized it, but the same thing that they go through, we go through, they faced it as well at a time because they were the immigrants coming in here. I think the biggest thing is that at different times we had that same power and same strength. Like when Zach was talking about the Black Wall Street, right? And that's why he bombed it, is because you see, or even Brownsville, right? Is you see this collection and amalgamation of black talent and resources, but then tough guys, right, coming in here making sure that just can't anybody just come in here. Like, I think one thing that is kind of crazy to think about is that when you think about the Bloods and the only reason they exist today is because of the factory jobs disappearing from California. Right. So the mothers and fathers, the aunts and uncles that would have been managers, CEOs, executives, didn't have the opportunity to use nepotism to then pay and then employ their nieces and nephews and their children. Right. So now you have an economic reason for crime, right? But then the need for defense and protection because the police aren't coming in there because of the riots and everything. But then when you deal with why the Crips and the Bloods was started, they started because you had white terrorists coming in here, kicking black kids out of pools, out of skating rinks, out of movie theaters, and they just wanted to live naturally. So then you bring in your big brothers, your big cousins. Now they're making sure that they're the tough guys, and they're like, oh, you got your white buddies out here, y'all gonna kick us out? All right, well, you gotta deal with me now, right? And they kind of stop. They
Mm.
put the line up, but then not being able to support them to where now these same dudes are homeless, they're poor, they have to sell drugs, they have to do different things to where now it is a crime thing. Where now some of our warriors are drug dealers or in jails or just I'm gonna be real, just banging out on useless like emotion based like disputes between each other, right? And it's something that we really can just get back on one accord where we're like, yo, all right, if you're gonna be a tough guy, you're gonna be tough. If you're gonna chew nails and screwdrivers for that's what you eat for breakfast, right? All right. Every time there's a cop killing, right? I need you just go make sure that that same cop, right, don't kill nobody else. Just go sit at his desk. That stuff the mob did. Like if
That's
you
what the
were a
mob did,
judge
really.
and
And see,
you were about to make this decision, this Breonna Taylor decision,
You
right?
got to think a few more times.
You had to think a few more because all
and
five
and
of
see,
us, right,
Yeah.
were sitting outside your house. We ain't had to touch you, right? But we sat outside your daughter's school, right? And we ain't had to touch your daughter, right? But you knew, you matter of fact, there's some people that have some reach around here. I gotta think twice, right? And we can move like that, but it's only for dumb shit. I'm gonna be real, right?
and
Like,
see, I was about to say before I cut you off because I wanted
please
to
go.
piggyback on Zach said when he was just like, "Man, if you kill my cousin, I'm gonna have to do something." We only react hard when it comes to us.
Hmm.
Like somebody black killed my cousin, nigga. Oh, that nigga, this nigga that. And see, that's where they fucked up our mindset as a whole. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because David Banner said it best. He said, "It's easy to kill a nigga. It's impossible to kill a god." But see, if we looked at each other and ourselves as gods, all this petty little crime shit or this jealousy or this any type of shit wouldn't go on as much as we see it so frequently in our so-called communities, where it's like, man, fuck that nigga or that bitch that. When you see people as a nigga or some type of bitch, then you're gonna treat them as such subconsciously. It don't have to be in your face. It's oh that nigga that oh that black ass nigga oh that. Once we get that shit out of our mind, we can move as the mob, as a true mob, how a mob really is, how every other mob in America is, except us. Shit.
Um, just I don't even call us N words no more, dog. Like I feel
Oh,
like I don't even like the thought of like we said, oh, we taking back the words, we taking back the words. But whose language is this? This ain't my
oh no,
language.
definitely. Hmm.
I don't my natural language is not English. So like I
Mhm.
can't take back a word that they have the power to define. Like and like you just now said, if I'm still just like how Amos Wilson said again, you call the native savages, treat them like savages. You call us criminals, but treat us like criminals. I call you the N word, I'm dehumanizing you. I don't see you as my brother no more. Like and yeah, you can sit there and say, yeah, that's my nigga. Yeah, you can say that all the time, but inherently, subconsciously,
Subconsciously, a nigga is still a nigga.
exactly,
Nigga
exactly.
is
So
still a nigga, regardless
uh,
if it's an ER or a nigga.
exactly.
You still got that subconsciously nigga this nigga that. Stop that shit. You feel me? And I need to. I guess I don't even say what I needed. I guess need to stop saying that. I say it off of like if I see I call any brother my brother first. I don't give a fuck what color you are first now anyway. It just conversations. I just say nigga in the conversation too. You feel me? I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with speaking this shit because on some deception shit, if somebody called me a nigga, whatever color they are, and this is my opinion, like you can't automatically react because that motherfucker said that to you. You feel me? If a motherfucker call you a billionaire and you're not a billionaire, like you gonna believe him or what? Like it's regardless. Like he somebody could be telling you that just to boost your head up for whatever reason. You feel me? And they can just get any type of reaction on you. So I feel like the word so called we still need to hang that shit out of our minds. I guess by not saying it, that can happen. But at the same time, it's like just as us just seeing each other just as now as a brother, like the word. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with. Man, it is because I wouldn't call
Like
nobody
you can't
or
even.
no.
There is something
Yeah,
wrong with
you
the
feel me?
word. You
Yeah,
can't.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
You got to think about it. Like
Yeah,
just
I
touching
agree.
on the point again of it's not our language.
Facts.
Again, no matter
Facts.
what, like just for instance, y'all would be called my brothers if we still went by our earlier form of
Yeah.
language. Like and like I think I read somewhere and I forget which part of Africa it was, but they didn't have the word cousin. It never existed. Like
The
it
word
would be
what?
the word cousin never existed. Like that's a white word. That's not our word because technically
Mm-hmm.
you're my brother. In our like natural environment, our roots, you're my brother. Like we're all
Mm.
is one. All is one. Like there is no cousin extended. No, you with me. So like just knowing how we used to use language differently than how they use it, and I'm conforming to the way their language. And that means no matter what, with them being the majority, whatever I say, it's their definition. So I don't think that we can say that that word means nothing or we taking it back or anything like that. Because again, that is something that is rooted in negativity. Yes, we still have niggas, we still have that, but we see what they did to it. We see what they did, and we that's in that's in our front. That's more in the front of our head
Then
than
the back of it.
kings, than
Yeah,
niggas. Like that's I don't. That's not the first thing that pops in my head when I hear that. And
exactly.
especially when I hear it
It's
from
always
you.
negativity when you first say it. Yeah, you're right. Unless it is niggas, which most people don't even haven't even heard the word. So it's just like fuck.
Unless you're a Kendrick
Well,
fan.
I like to bring a lot of these conversations back to music, and I know you brought up a lyric,
Yeah,
Cameron, but a song that I really have liked over the past couple of years is "American Idols" by Joey Badass. I don't know if y'all listen to Joey, but
yeah. Listen to Joey.
man, in that song, he says, "As black men, I think our gangs need to do a better job of protecting us, the people, our communities, and not assisting and destroying them brutally. It's time to even the score because who do we call when the police break the law? We so quick to pick up a gun and kill one of another, but not quick enough to pick it up and protect each other. The cold
Mm,
man to killing a black man by police is he got a gun.
Mm,
Damned if he do, damned if he don't, damned if he runs. But what about them? Because them murderers got him, you know. Um,
mm.
and that's something that's always stood out to me. Like, what kind of power could we have if we really use, that military power that black people use against each other, against our true enemies? Um,
I haven't been able to fully figure that out. Like in the sense of like, and I don't respond anymore with, oh, why are white people doing this? Well, what about black people doing it to themselves? That's not the argument that I'm making. But I have seen a mentality in the hood, you know what I'm saying, in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, and it's different places too. Talking to people in other like up north is like Tanahasi said, people respond as if they're being attacked, right? In every situation, and people in the, I mean, just people in general, black people who are killing each other respond as if they feel threatened by one another. So it becomes survival mode for your immediate situation, and you're gonna be around your peoples. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then people die. You know what I'm saying? At the hands of other black hands. So it's like if we were talking solutions, like what what ingredients would need to come together for life or death, fight or flight kind of mentality to not eat us up too. You know what I'm saying?
it's up
Like it's
here, man.
development.
And they said there would be no revolution without revolutionary consciousness. And that's what we got to build in these people because without that consciousness, they're not going to have the know-how or
And I'm
where to exert their energy.
and I believe that. Okay, are you saying this? The consciousness before the environment? Because what we're talking about two things here in this conversation. We're talking about the environment that we're in that creates certain things, and then the mentality that ends up perpetuating it. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been talking about the flaw with America, but it's like, what is that for this situation?
You just got
So,
to be conscious of the environment though, and how to move within those environment. Like I develop my consciousness within myself, my people, and then the environment, and like or even vice versa. It's all hand in hand. So again, the whole going back to how we started, All African People's Revolutionary Party. It is dedicated to getting you consciously prepared for revolution, giving you like historical context, dialectical materialism, so that you do have your thesis, your antithesis, and then to synthesize, like Jordan said earlier, so then you do know how to move within your environment, with your people, and within yourself. Like it's
mhm.
all of that goes hand in hand, and it all has to come with consciousness first, because you get enough people conscious, each one teach one. Like I think I forget which lecture I saw, but it said somebody I don't know, somebody's sparking over there. Like I can hear static, dog. I can hear static. But
Yeah, I can too.
they in their lecture, I forget who it was, and my bad. I hope they don't see this and miss out on the credit. But they said we learned dances like that. Like a dance can be in Jersey, and I can learn it down here like that. A dance can be made in Cali, and so it can be in New York like that. We can learn lyrics to songs like that and pass it
Mhm.
on to the next one. You know, styles, new styles come in and trends like that. You get it. What's next? Like we got snapbacks in like high school. It was okay to wear snapbacks. Then now we don't wear
Big
snapbacks like
ass white tees.
big white stuff transfers. So it's
Boy.
teach one. It is literally just each one teach one. And when you actually, the only part for me is that I feel as though getting to my thing though is that a lot of people. I recently had a conversation with another brother, and he wants to try to combine Booker T. Washington's thought with like having those that groundwork stuff that creates your sustainability, but with the 10th idea of Du Bois. But I had to remind him, like, Du Bois, even later on, came back and criticized his own self on that talented 10th because you can't just move with that talented 10th. I need to go back to my brothers and tell them, like, you are with me. You are with me. Like, I don't know how to do it yet myself. But I know there's brothers that can segue it for me. I know there's a brother out there that can be in those circles that I can talk to, and he can bring me into those circles and so on, and bring
Mhm.
to get into those next circles and those next circles, and then
Mhm.
you get to that point where, like, I don't know if people know this, but the mafia had to deal with MLK's murder. Like it wasn't just the FBI, it was the mafia too. So like you see how they work hand in hand. So then
Dang.
if I can go each one teach one, going through my people, getting us to all understand we on the same page. I'm with you, dog. I don't care that you selling that right now, but I need you to stop selling to my people. Hopefully, but I'm gonna keep on talking to you on it. But I need to find some way to make you money. Otherwise, I need to get you, like, what can I do? Don't just tell you stop doing that way. Like, what? How can I help you get to being that real estate mogul? How can I help you put all that money in the stocks now and flip it? How can I help you start your own record label or something? How can I help you on that? Like that talented tenth should be going back to them and then saying, look, I'm going to help you start this shit up. And we're going to sit here and make sure all our people only buy from you and continue that and move like that. Because I just don't think you can do it without everybody that wants to look down on all the people that's being oppressed the most. They sit there and you turn lights on, you see roaches in their crib, or they sit there and you know for a fact that they have little kids running little dime bags through school because like they got little runners like that. Like we know this stuff happens. We know those people are there, but you can't just look down on them and tell them don't do that. You have to actually work with help them. Like don't even do the like the white savior type of complex because we do that to ourselves too. We sit there and go to the homeless person and be like, bro, I'm like taking pictures with the homeless man and doing videos and all that. No, you ain't have to do all that. So don't sit there and make yourself no savior to your own people. Go truly help yourself by helping them because that is like one of my homeboys that transitioned last year. One of his last quotes was, "The real thanks is to give." That is one of the closest things you can do to God and possible is to give. Give your time to someone. You owe your time, your talents, your God given talents to your humanity. You owe it to humanity. You owe it to your people. So like I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how like, with this all African People's Revolutionary Party. I'm excited to go out and talk to people, and hopefully I can get to those circles at some point that I can talk to
Mhm.
somebody and also have something else for them to transition into. You know?
One
Yeah,
thing
and I
Mhm.
think
about
here
my
Mhm.
what we want to do is like give the power of information, the power of knowledge, back to the people and help people. One, help ourselves, but help other people see the importance in developing like a revolutionary consciousness and forward thinking and progressive thinking for Black people, and not just here, but across the world.
one thing I
Mhm.
did is when I was in the Panthers, even though the organization today no longer is existing and thriving because the leadership, the chief general command, did some he molested one of the chapter members in Milwaukee, but that was a one man doing something foul as shit. But he was able to build, or the organization and the mentality was able to grow into Milwaukee, Tallahassee, DC, Atlanta, and across the country. And it was based on feeding, clothing, shelter, and protecting, training, defending the community. And that's not what my nonprofit focus on. And the big thing that I can swear by every day is when we were doing political education, the community wants to be educated. They want to come together. They want to, hear what's going to move us forward. But it was always crazy because let's say we did it on a Thursday night, we probably had 50 women and 3 dudes, right? And then we do recruitment, we probably have 12 women to 2 dudes, right? And then you got to look at who's coming out and who's serious about doing the work and who's going to push the needle for the community. Then when we do the food drives, you got to think to where, I mean, of course, like I'm a college student, but I'm not the most put together brother. But I would get like the grad students, some of the sorority and fraternity people, and when we bring them into these Section 8 communities, the thing that used to anger me is, you know, I ain't asked somebody to cook up no food or nothing. I spend the morning cooking the food. I just wanted them to come love up on the community, like just interact, share their minds. These are college students, right? One thing that was that hurt my heart is that we had a Black History Month food drive, and the dude on the mic asked the kids, "Okay, what college do y'all guys want to go to?" Blank stares. Don't nobody know what college is, how it relates to them, if they can ever go there. And so then, I get on the mic and I'm letting them know, like, yo, so, what he's talking about is, once you get out of high school, elementary school, and all that, you got to go somewhere, right? But then I realized now it's easy as hell to just throw a college in there. So then my homeboy starts saying, just say FAMU, FAMU. And now these kids are yelling FAMU at the top of their lungs, thinking about going to a school that they never heard, they don't even know what it is, right? But then the responsibility wasn't on the MC to even bring that relationship to what college is, right? Because he clearly botched it. All they know is the word family, right? We got sorority sisters, fraternity brothers. We got the Black Grad Student Union over here. There's like 30 like college students, right? To I want to say like 100 some odd kids in the project, and out of 30 of them, 15 are on the very edge of the table, trying to keep their distance, trying to politic and talk to each other. And these kids right here, impressionable, ready to be affected, right? And so on one level, it's like we were talking about earlier, where we see ourselves and we can't even get past like what they got going on. Like Zach said it, we see these kids with roaches and holes in their sock. Like the thing that really makes me do what I do is when I was in the Panthers, right? We'd show up with the food, set it up and everything, and let's say something stupid would happen and throw it off. Like we didn't have silverware, we didn't have hand sanitizer to let them clean their hands real quick, right? You see kids chewing on debris from the playground. And you gotta think they're chewing on debris because that's the same color as candy, Skittles, and all this. So now they're thinking they're gonna get something sweet, something if they maybe put something in them up. But I also what I do is I pick up the trash in these communities every time we go. So when they passing out food and doing, I'm picking up trash and I'm picking up syringes. I'm picking up dime bags. I'm picking up all kinds of bullshit out of the playground, right? And I think the only difference is I'm getting a balloon with heroin in it and just a random balloon that popped from a birthday party is literally just a coin flip. And so then when you think like it's nothing for us to just go in these communities, like it was nothing to just show up. And I put it to you guys like this. This is how easy it was. It's like I cook up the food every day, but I'd advertise to the colleges and the campuses like probably a month beforehand and just kind of try to bring out support, right? But then I really didn't get the most support. But then I just show up the day of, knock on the doors of the community, and then you get 100 kids. 75 parents. You get the whole community that day if you just knock on and you want some positive, right? I got into a fight with my little sister one time about her thinking that method is dangerous. And the thing that unnerves me is and the fight was about her being offended. I said that that's the white people mentality. To thinking that it's dangerous to go knock on these doors in this community where you look like these folks. You want some positive stuff. You about to feed them. You about to bring local entertainment, local artists. How often does a kid in a ghetto see live performance? Right? You bring that right to that neighborhood right then. How often is an up and coming artist going to be able to perform in front of 150 people? You can bridge that right then. Now you taking
Mhm.
it back to now he needs an audience, right? These people need food, all kinds of other services. It's nothing for us to do it. We just gotta pull it together. We did a pick and pull at the Christmas food drive we had. I had people because the hurricane just passed. And when colleges move out, they have all this clothes and stuff where they doing. Went around, got all the clothes, right? Had then took it out for like I probably saved it from Thanksgiving from the hurricane, Thanksgiving, and then Christmas. We probably had like a warehouse, like enough to fill a warehouse of clothes. Took it out to the section of the community, just put it out there in boxes. Man, people running out with arms full of stuff, right? And all it is, like that stuff was going in the trash on another, like on a like in other essence, right? It was going in the trash, or somebody was going to sell it to Goodwill, where Goodwill was going to get the money for it, right? We don't need to be giving nothing to Goodwill. We could take it right to the old lady that live on the corner and be like, yo, if you know some people, some kids, right? Here's some socks, here's some shirts, here's some business shirts and stuff like that. Like we can't like we can and we're obligated to do the work. Like I'm telling y'all, like the it looks bad, right? Like yeah, you gonna go up to the kids and they got the roaches and stuff in their house, but your your moment, your time in that life, even if it's just a Saturday once a month, even if it is just like, you know, you come and reading to them after school every day, like brothers, like I gotta tell y'all, like I when it comes to my people, I do a lot. Like I give my money and I put my money where my mouth is, but when it comes to these kids are who suffering the worst. Like, yeah, us at our point, you know, we suffer our different micro aggressions, our micro traumas and tensions, but these kids are going to be adults one day. They're gonna be older longer than they are young, and they're living in fucked up conditions. Like when I
Facts.
was living in this townhouse in Tallahassee, like this mother, she had what I want to say 7 kids, all under the age of 13, and when her youngest baby, she ended up killing. And between you and I, she murdered that baby because she couldn't take care of it. And the way the community had to respond to that, knowing that the police wasn't going to do nothing, knowing that the ambulance came in and just took a dead baby out of it, knowing that her brother and sisters and all those other little kids had to go through the psyche of what just happened. And I remember thinking that day, like, how do I look at this lady every day and just act like, yo, you just, like, come on now, like, yo, bitch, like, you're foul. Right? But then every day I'm taking care of her kids, you know, reading to them, putting them on my motorcycle, driving them around just so they have a little bit of sunshine. But knowing I can't always be there. And thinking that even me leaving Tallahassee and no longer doing the food drives and stuff and coming to DC, that community no longer has that reoccurring just even if they didn't they even if that was the one meal they got, right? They don't have that. But we can set up these systems where we're taking care of our communities and it's no longer leaving it up to welfare or the government or some other organization where just us. Like we're enough. And so I love that like Zach said, like he keep mentioning like I'm an educator. Yo, us as black men need to be educators. That's the only way these kids are gonna learn to read. They're showing their ass in these schools. Not no offense to these women, but because these kids don't have the male role models and the male structure in their house, they're getting to school leaning on these dudes as a father figure, saying, all right, yo, accidentally calling their teacher daddy, right? Because that's the only man they respect. And so it's like we gotta get out here.
Right before we get into the book, I read this book by Bobby E. Wright,
Bro.
name called "The Racial Pathology of the Psychopath," or the yeah, I think it's the racial pathology of the psychopath. And he was basically saying like it's easy to teach our youth the things that benefit us and to teach them Afro educated centered education, like Afrocentric, what's catered to the black youth, like something that's progressive for them, not creating a key for their oppressor. And but he says as soon as you put them back out in the environment. That's when it becomes hard. It's like it's easy to teach them it, but it's harder to reinforce it. But that was my last thing on that. I think I'm gonna let Jalen touch on what our next book is gonna be. Unless Kenny, I see you go. I think
Hey, I
you
was just about to say something. Yeah, I feel you on that, and I feel you too, Cameron, on your day-to-day grind, man. Like you just made that a part of your lifestyle. That's a part of your breathing to be able to do that. You know, that's your regular routine, and like yeah, we do need to embody that. More people need to embody that, and I agree. And I think a lot of times people get discouraged, man. And I'm speaking from a personal place too, like going hard for a cause and seeing that you got to go hard for a little bit to happen, for a little bit of progress. You got to go hard for bright moments. You know what I'm saying? Like it's discouraging sometimes, and like that's why I'm looking at the whole spectrum, top to bottom, system to day to day. Do you got food, clothes, water? Did you have a happy moment this morning? You know what I'm saying? Like it goes top to bottom, all of that, and I think as far as our what we saying, bro?
I was saying I was saying I love that. Did you look at the title like, did you have a good day today? Because that's where it starts too. Is like, yo, where's your mental health as well? Like, how are we taking care of a inventory of what we're thinking and feeling emotionally? So that's beautiful.
Exactly, man. And that's the whole that's the whole range to people thinking about, okay, hey, system wise, how can we set up, like you saying, is that sustainability? How can we set up this situation where the environment isn't so desperate? You know what I'm saying? Where that isn't the situation. So it takes all of that, but then I think from a representation perspective, it takes being able to represent black people in different areas and lanes because like our culture in the sense of our music is a predominant influencer, right? And it's not to say that, oh, what people are rapping about, we're not having that conversation. What people are rapping about is bad. More than anything is that it's not balanced with anything else. So the bad that might be in it based on your perspective gets magnified, and now people are talking about killing bitches, fucking hoes, whatever it is, and people start living by it. Like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Is that going on? And then it's the other side where it's like, yo, this is really my life, and I'm just talking about it. Either way, that perpetuates like our mental status. You know what I'm saying? If
Definitely.
you if you're smoking, drinking, doing whatever, and you say, oh, I'm doing this, you'll do it more. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's like, oh, I'll kill that nigga if he step up on me. Your first reflex when a nigga step up on you is not far away from what you've been saying
Or listening to. You ain't
or
gotta
listen
say it.
or
You
yeah
your
or
subconscious thought is look at it, man, the fuck.
right. It's already there. So I think,
Hmm.
from a top down perspective, it's like being mindful of those representations, how far they go, and understanding that like we need people in different lanes, top to bottom, strategy, politics, economics, all the way down to your teachers and your dads and your mothers, to your homies, it's all of that. And so it's a wide range of places for people to really plug in. And I think, just echoing what we've been saying, like people plug in every place, represent us more, but then let's really get on the same page consciousness wise about our North Star, you know?
And I was about to say too, cause I seen I don't know, oh no, I think when you made a comment about hip hop with the drinking, alcohol, stuff like that too. It's like
Hmm.
to me, like everything ain't nothing wrong with nothing without a balance of it. You feel me? That's just my personal opinion. We overconsume the
A
bullshit. That's the
slice,
only thing.
a
We don't
slice.
have
Yeah.
we don't have the balance of we just consume, and then go out of our environment, or it's in our environment to just see, and then they be like, oh, look at them folks. Like, nah, bro. And when it comes to hip hop, most people don't know hip hop stands for um damn, what hip hop stand for? It stands for healing. I think healing hip hop. I'm gonna get back to you and send y'all that because Professor Griff said what hip hop really stands for, but it's basically like healing our people. It's some positive shit. It wasn't on just on that nigga shit. If you listen to people like Rakim, like an old school rapper who's still living, who in his raps he barely cursed or said the word nigga, it's just like, bro, that's the essence of hip hop. And if somebody is cursing, doing whatever they gotta do, let them do that. But we shouldn't, as a culture, feed into all that and consume it so much. Like, let the balance, let that be there. People doing that, but we just consume it so much, and then, like I said, like you were just saying, you feed into it, and then you gonna do that, which is that's been our cycle. Like, now we need to cut that shit out. And if you're going to listen to hip hop, make sure, or if you make your own shit, make sure it's some solid shit, not on that mainstream shit that's keeping the cycle. Break the cycle. Do some new shit, even if somebody said it was lame. Like, who gives a fuck?
Mhm.
Nigga, it's your art. Like, shit.
And you as an artist might be.
Hop on my next track, Smiley.
What'd you say?
He's a
I
hop on
said,
his new
hop on
track.
my next track.
Oh, your next track.
Oh, all right,
And
look. He trying to get right for a minute. Look. I bet.
just getting it out there, plugging.
Yeah, hey,
Exactly.
the next,
Look. What you about to
I
say,
don't know.
though, brother?
I was about to say what the next. I didn't. Yeah. She got it.
Oh, high
Yeah, high
infinite
infinite
power,
power healing our people.
healing
Thank
in
you.
our
I cannot
people.
think of it either. I'm thankful she said that. That's what
Man,
hip hop stands for. I'm
you
like,
better
a
say
sister
something,
said it too.
girl. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Like,
that.
damn.
Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you
that.
for that. I could not get the thought in my
Like,
head. Like, I
just
thank her
looking at
wholeheartedly for that.
looking
man.
at it right there is
That's art,
powerful.
though.
Like being able to see that in words right there, that's
That's
powerful.
hip
I
hop.
never seen that before.
Exactly. And that's what the type of mind shit they got us on. Like, but that's
Dang,
us
hold on,
though.
that changes things. Hold up,
That's
man.
us. That's hip
But
hop.
Hold up,
Not on
man.
that
Oh,
nigga shit, all
that's
that
That
a
need
shit.
to
whole
be the
that's a
true
whole nother
essence, man.
conversation. Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
I can't even
yo,
get
Exactly.
off
yo,
that.
real quick, if we can, because one of my students, her uncle is speech from Arrested Development. He's got a podcast, but I'm gonna ask her mom if he would ever be willing to hop on here because they've also had discussions about this as well. How in the past you used to have a well balance of music. You'd get your conscious music, you might get your booty shaking music, and you got your rap, and like you
And I
have
wrote it.
it in rotation. But now it's just been like, all right, what sells? What sells? What sells? What's gonna give me that sale? And it's not necessarily about putting quality out there. It's just about that profit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow, wow.
Totally agree, but
And
definitely.
that goes back to the system. All right. So like we'll just bring that full circle and we can go into the next thing.
If I could just say real quick, like I think a big thing that deals with that is integrity. It's like, of course, on
Hmm.
one level, like you knew what hip hop was when you were growing up and you were listening to it, and then now, like it just feels like some rappers just don't have any integrity. Like they just sold it
Mm.
all away just for the check. And it's like I remember when you listen to like an African band, Bada, a KRS-One, a Rock Kim, like you get this real, they're like this gritty, just rough, just like oh shit,
Rakim speaks to your heart.
yeah, straight from
You
your,
can feel that.
but you feel like a man, like he's telling you what you need to do to become a man. Like then it's so weird because like of course like we want to accept the art that our young brothers are putting today, but like sometimes you can find yourself listening to murder music. And it's like, wait a minute, like, am I literally just sitting riding in a car thinking about shooting up everyone around me and slap it? Like,
And don't be mad at somebody at the moment.
Yeah.
Murder
And
music,
at the same time, like, bro,
you
don't.
know, drug abuser music, and, you know, not
Oh,
even drug
bro,
sellers,
don't.
but drug
And don't call
abuser
this shit.
music.
Don't call it hate when somebody critique it.
Young
Even
Thug,
it's like it's not hate. If it's
Yeah.
bullshit and nobody not trying to, if it's that wavelength, not even the
yeah,
music. If that frequency is on some bullshit, we need to call it out more. Like the
frequency. But hey,
frequency is
That's
bullshit.
we're gonna
that's
have
the point.
we're gonna have an
That's
episode on that too,
that's a
like
good point. That's
on
that's deep
vibrational
too.
levels stuff. But I think Young Thug got a song where he said somebody gonna die today. He says it over and over and over. And I caught myself when I was listening to it. I was like, wait, who is gonna die today? Because
straight
statistically,
up.
within proximity, you killing my brother.
Well, let me
I
ask
just
you,
did the whole
how many
album.
times have
I
y'all heard that words are
And like
spoken?
I said, bro, it's nothing wrong with him making that shit. It shouldn't be sold at a higher level. Well, I'm gonna say this too. I forgot who said this a lot. More white people buy hip hop music than us anyway. So they're buying that shit. Like they listening to that shit more than we think we perceive it to be. Like, are you when you talk with some of your white friends, or if anybody have any white friends, they be like, oh, you listen to this? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, man. I'm like, damn sure to listen to that shit. That's how I keep selling. That's why it's mainstream, cause these niggas is buying it. You feel me? But we still, I know how to early time we control this shit more. But we just got to get back to that frequency. That's all it is, man. That
Well, let me
shit
ask,
dead.
how often have y'all heard that people say like words are spells, and then like so long as
all
you
Yeah,
the
speak
time.
it,
I've
it
heard that.
influences the reality. Well, there's like the thing that's starting to really
Hmm.
is that we've advanced so far in our society now that we're able to really track things like music's impression on the brain and what people perceive from listening to music. And so scientifically it's been proven that when you consume a certain lyric patterns, a certain music, you go out into the world expecting your reality
Expecting
to
your
take
to
on
be
what
that.
you're seeing. And we
Interesting.
know that. And that's something that
Interesting.
actively is scientifically understood. Why the hell are we letting people say stuff like this? Where it's like, okay, yeah, we know that this person's creating an image and playing a character. Like Biggie Small's mother says that she ain't never lived that way, right? That was she refers to it as the character and the role that he was playing, right? Then you have to deal with the fact that he never lived that life, but he's telling you a reality that is very real and that
To some
somebody,
people,
yeah,
yeah.
straight up, but
Pac was similar. He said he was
yeah,
terrible at selling drugs.
straight up.
He wasn't even a street dude.
Yeah.
He wasn't, but when you look at the history and the story, the chronology of his life, right? Him joining Death Row, he found that image and he started to wear that, and he found that people were going to pay for that, right? So then he
Mm.
goes into
Mm.
about the death, but it's still the integrity thing.
He
Him
said
not being
he was
happy,
like, bro, if
going, yo,
y'all
this not me. I'm telling you a story, right? Now people, I want to be Pac, so now I'm gonna put the bandana to the front and I'm gonna bang out, right? Everyone knows nowadays that Tupac died because he decided to sign on to that gang stuff, right? He wasn't from that. He wasn't born into it. He signed on to another person's argument and situation,
Mm.
and that's what got him caught
Mm.
up, right? The gang members in LA from MOB did not want him to be blood, right? The OGs and stuff, because they saw what it was doing to his own mind and stuff like that, and what it was doing to people when they go travel. Same with Biggie and stuff like that. And so then when you think that like on one level, like, yo, like if all it took for us to just be honest and be like, yo, like I want to sell this version of me, but I don't live like this for real. It's taxing and it's you go to jail, you like your life gets like you gotta think that little kid TK who made that song The Race, like he needs to be the poster child of the dangers of this,
Facts.
because literally
Facts.
he thought that these rappers were living like that and taking all these penitentiary chances, and he took real penitentiary chances, and now
And
he's
got
in jail.
fucked.
Takashi, he over here
Yo,
sold people's dreams, got together with some people that never would have been in jail. They didn't mix up with him, right? But he
Mm.
wanted to sell his image. He wanted people to think that he was about what he was doing. So he connected with some people that really were. When he got in way over his head, that he backed out. That's worth 15 years in jail to me, right? He got 2 years.
Wow.
Nah, bro, you missing 13 in my head. You knew what you was doing. You knew that this was gonna sell, that there was sensation, and so on one level, like, yeah, we all love the sensation, but yo, when we're saying that the baby's the realest rapper because he actually has a body, what? Because he actually killed somebody? Yeah, come on now.
You're
Take
right,
that
bro.
as
and
an
And
outcome.
bro, and
Weird.
another thing too, for y'all to before y'all talk about y'all book, I was always messed up in the head when it came to like double standards with either dudes or women. Like the double standard is for dudes, like I for the Kashi, they were just like this. The argument was, oh well, they fucked his baby mama, and they, I'm just like, bruh, how many hoes did he fuck being a rapper? I'm just like, so y'all having sexual orientation with each other counts any type of trial out of what he did to them. I'm like, but my thing is just like, bro, don't just speak on what somebody girl didn't like that. Like I always had that double standard when it be like, oh well, she cheated on him, and so he should have got them, or he should have got them back for that. Like, nigga, that's his fault because he knew that type of life. Like you just said, like how these niggas is. Don't type. Like, no, bro. Like, I'm like, and for another thing too, you ain't gotta be in that life to know it. Like you ain't like that's the main thing about me too, like, about this shit too. It's like, bro, like that street shit is what it is. Most of us got family in it, or some of us did this shit, but it's just like, and for y'all know that did it or got family in it, y'all know the repercussion from it. And if you got older families that did it, they put you on to be like, bro, don't do that shit. Hopefully they do if they smart. You feel me? I remember the quote. I think was it? I forgot. I think it was either G Herb or something like that. But he was just like, bruh, if you was a street nigga and your son's a street nigga, you failed. I was just like, facts. I was like, super facts. I was just like, you a street nigga and then your son is too? Like, no, nigga. Like, it's like 50 Cent sons really be on some power shit. Like, his children been like, nigga, no, nigga. Like, no. No. And that's the reason why people in that type of, for the most part, in that lifestyle, get like once they get in it and get the bread for it, they get out because they know that shit and they know. Of course, why would you want your kids on that shit? Like, what the fuck? Like crazy. And but like I said, the music, you know, from the science, from the frequency, like they know it. Folks know what they doing with that shit. Like it's the other shit in the '90s when that gangster rap shit came out. To where it was, heard a few bunch of things about how like they knew what that shit was going to do to us, mindset wise. That's why the frequency changed from people always like, why was some people like how the music changed? Why people were doing such? Nigga, yeah, it lowered. It went all the way down to your lower chakra. Nigga, you on function all day. So it's just like, man, it's like that's crazy. And that's coming out of, and they give us that. See, they give us that, but out of Jim Crow before slavery, they put us through slavery, then they get to Jim Crow, and then they cut all that shit off. Out of all those years, they never gave us back anything that we had before we got here. No type of none of our religion, nothing of our language. They never gave us nothing of that shit back. Because first of all, they didn't know how to give it back anyway. They didn't want to give the shit back. But if that's the case, don't harp on people that look like us when we do certain shit, like or live a certain way, like how Zach you were just saying, like if you see that young brother or people living like that, like don't look down on nobody like that, like you don't know these people. And with us, our conditions, we spoke on most of our conditions because of the system. Like that's why our conditions is fucked up, but it's not mean that we can't do shit about it because we all with conversation like this and just doing shit how my brother Cam was doing, like we still doing shit, but we still gotta learn the shit that fucked us up as a whole. You feel me? That shit crazy. I'm just like, and music played a part in that shit. Like they took all that shit away and they gave us that gangster rap shit. You just like, damn, like, that's what y'all give us? Okay. Like, all right, it's entertaining, but all right, cool.
Yeah, I think like you were saying, the keywords that stood out to me was like what they gave us, and it's like what the media and what the radio perpetuates. It's like what kind of music do you have to make to get on the radio? It's not no black empowerment, positive music. It's let's f these girls, let's take these Molly's, Percocets. It's some real mindless music, and that's what it takes to get popular. And it's people deciding that. I think if people could decide that, Black Power music would be popular, and it would be popular. If that's what they put out there, but it's not the frequency they want us to be on. They want us to be on a lower vibration.
That's what
I think
I'll let you go, Ken. You got it.
Real quick. Yeah, but I think what's interesting is the fact that, I mean, obviously it's been commodified, but it's like, why has a certain narrative been commodified and essentially, I guess, quote unquote, celebrated, one in mainstream culture, right? And then two, it's like, okay, at what point does that line become detrimental to people who are living by it? You get what I'm saying? So like mainstream made it this big thing, and then the people, in the Black community who are actually living by it aren't always making that separation from, oh, this is something that's been commodified entertainment that got big. It's not my guy as an educator. And so like I think the point, to bring it full circle a little bit, the point we're saying is like trying to educate people through these circumstances of how our culture, our music, certain practices or certain mentalities, certain ideas is what we're up against. You know what I'm saying? The fact that certain things that aren't beneficial are cool, right? And and then having to also deal with the reality that like certain people really are going through this lifestyle, and but what's being perpetuated is something that is cool and detrimental. So it's like understanding that about our people in a large way, because it's not to say that rap culture at all is a bad thing or you can't talk about whatever you're talking about. It's just like understand what place it has, right? And so we're trying to educate past that, like, hey, this has a place and this is some people's reality, but when it's presented and commodified in this way, it becomes something completely different that messes with people's mentality, you know?
That's what my conversation with the sister I was talking about earlier has consistently come back to, where I tell her like I don't think our current state of music is beneficial for us. And we get down to a point where she's basically saying like she talks about like a third and fourth wave feminism. And she's kind of touching on like I come from the whole like the bell hooks second wave type of thoughts where it's like you're conditioned to sit there and want to like this music and know like whether or not it's good or bad for you. Whereas she comes from the stance of, well, what if I like sucking dick? And what if I want to talk about it in my songs and everything? Why can't I have agency over my music like that? What if I want to put that out there in the world?
That's always people's response. I'm interested.
Ain't nothing wrong with
And
that. Yeah.
yeah, and my thing with there is like I don't know if that I don't want to. I just want to ask like, how is that beneficial for our people? That's my main thing. Because for me, I'm thinking if it's not
Right.
beneficial, throw it away. I don't need it.
She, she,
Well,
Not
here's
she
what
thought
I'm
it
saying.
was.
but she because y'all might be able to help me with this. Because to be honest with
How
you,
about she
I never.
thought it was beneficial?
I just asked, is it beneficial? Is if it's
No,
not beneficial, why do we have it? I just throw it away.
no.
Well, it's different.
But
It's
yeah,
because I don't
it
think it's
isn't
that
because
simple.
yeah, because if that specific person just wants to do that, just like if it's beneficial or not, that's for them. You feel me? But like I'm saying, as a whole, we don't have to. If she want to make music like that, like if Cardi and Shorty want to make the WAP song, they can make that shit. But we don't have to,
Right.
as a whole, listen to this shit. We choose to listen
Celebrated.
to that shit.
Yeah,
It's the number
or
one trend.
celebrate it as some sort of standard. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's a, and that's the thing, because like that's the whole issue with like capitalism and stuff like that. Like if somebody's selling you your quote unquote desires, who are they to tell you you shouldn't pay X amount for it? You get what I'm saying? Like, and you'll fight somebody toe to toe with the same thing. I want this bad, or I think it's a fun song. I don't think it's a big deal. You want to buy it, right? So it's tap look at how that shit look at how capitalism is sneaky in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is you can have as long as you want it, even if it's not good for you.
Because
That's
like
the and capitalism is like the underlining of this like whole conversation
It really
because
is. That's the
people
issue.
Always
because
is.
people
It
only
always
do the
is.
fuck shit because it pays,
It
and that's
always.
Because it
that's like the
pays.
dilemma. Yeah, that's the only dilemma we going through. We just like damn, like
That's the
with the it's
dilemma.
mixed in
That's
with
the
the
part.
integrity.
Like what you
It's
were
mixed in with
saying.
the
It's
integrity,
mixed in
man.
with
That's a good point.
integrity in the bread because it's just like I'm not about to do that shit. They be like, nigga, that you wouldn't do that shit for you want to suck no dick for the $100,000,000, nigga. You be like, no, I would not, nigga. I'm like, no, not me. That's you.
feel good.
No, bro, I'm good. I'm
Cardi
good
was
on
saying,
that. I'm
she
like,
was saying that
damn.
her other music wasn't selling. So that she was like, let me transition to this because it is selling. So that was her. She's already had interviews on it. So I never down on women on that. It's just I always like to think about it like who's pushing this. At the end of the day,
Right.
you don't control this. Like
I think on
you,
one level, like there's only like a conversation about that WAP song because we don't want to admit that like a majority of us are more conservative than not, right? So like we're not out here trying to do a bunch of drugs. We're not out here trying to sleep with a bunch of people and have our business out there in the streets. And so when you think about like what is selling right now, it is all that like sensation, all that like put your pussy on the TV screen, show them floating
OnlyFans.
like that. Like it's crazy because like on one level, like we never ever should have a conversation about a woman expressing herself sexually because all of us who are heterosexual appreciate that in a safe, healthy environment, right? But you only start using words like whore or slut where there's like an element of like deceit and stuff like that, right? But when you literally let a woman do her business, right, and her body is her body, right? Yo, sometimes like there's a beauty in that, right? That's why like we did used to like have women like in nude art, but now like yeah, like I guess saying like I got some wet ass pussy like can rub somebody the wrong way if you on one hand haven't been allowed to see or experience wet ass pussy, nor do you think women should talk about having wet ass pussy. Like it's strange because like on one level they really try to like make it similar to like all the like the gun stuff. Like what? Me telling you that I'm about to shoot an old lady and a kid in their head is way different from this girl telling me she got wet ass pussy. Like she's just saying like she healthy, she drink her water, she eat her pineapples, like her shit good, right? This other dude's telling me that he's about to commit a murder. Like he's taking somebody's life, right? And then we talking about some
Right.
like who like what we saying? Like yo, like women like we should like Zach said something like with the second wave of feminism and stuff like that. Like on one level, like hell no, everybody can't do what they just want to do. Like at that point, like there's ownership and stuff like we talked about with capitalism, but then there's like respectability. Like, all right, you want to do what you want to do. Am I required to still respect you at the same level? And if I am, let's decide why we respect this and what level of respect we put on this. Like it all, like for me, it all breaks down to like nation building, right? Are we going to live in a nation together? Are we going to live in this environment together, this house together, right? So like on one level is you, right? You have to live in a home, right? You're gonna bring in your wife. Now you have a family. Now in this family, what decisions do we do? Do we make? How do we live? Then you got your family lives in a community. I live in this community. Now in this community, what decisions do we make? Right? Same with a nation. And so like when you decide, when you realize that like we do not have that planned out in America at all. We will show you pornography and then sell you ear porn, right? And then hustle that to you like as if it's something different, right? We'll show you a little girl up a little girl skirt on a Pampers commercial, but then talk about pedophilia, right? And not put the correlation that you just trained the pedophile the moment you put that Pampers commercial up, right? Then we'll go and make cartoons and put little girls in beauty pageants and stuff like that, and then not act like you're sexualizing a little girl just for monetary purposes. And so then we like that's the nation we live in, right? Like that, like as far as like our nation building standards, we accept that we show women in a provocative way. If we even cared to control that, yo, like half the problems with like rape and stuff like that would be dead, right? You telling me Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion in her foot for any other reason besides she had WAP? What? He ain't shooting her in the foot because she had bad pussy. He had working there. He was like, damn, I can't let this get out of here. He shot her. Right? We need to tell men you don't own that vagina. You may rent it, you may lease it for a period of time, but you don't got no ownership. So you putting your hands on this woman, right? You look silly. Right? There dudes that just grow up like, yo, I don't own this woman. I'm thankful that I had this opportunity with her, right? And they had the best time. Yeah, they break up, something crazy happen, right? Then there's other
That's how
dudes
it is.
they need that experience, and it's not beating on a woman and stuff like that because it's ownership. We gotta teach like, yo, you enjoy that vagina, that WAP that you enjoy, you don't own it.
Right, you don't own it, right?
Yeah.
And it's a privilege. And it's a privilege on
It is
top of that.
the height of it is that it's a privilege.
Yeah, that's true.
This girl had this poster that had me geeking. She was like,
And not the, I'm gonna say one more thing there too.
Huh? Say it again.
That nigga.
I was saying it was funny. This girl posted this thing. It was like it's crazy we disrespect
I was
our
about to say, y'all can
mothers.
hear me?
Every time.
He's talking.
Oh, my
You're muted, bro. Is he muted?
I'm not
Me?
muted.
Yeah. Go ahead, Cameron.
Go
Oh
ahead.
no, I just this girl put this thing about like we disrespect women as if we don't come from like we don't come from them, and she was like, "Nigga, I'm your mother, right?" Like that's how our women need to carry it. Like, yo, dude, don't you disrespect me? Like, if like the only way
Exactly.
you exist is if you come from these legs. So make sure you come correct. But nah, I'm off that. I'm off that.
I like that part. The only way
That's
you
real.
exist is to come from these legs.
That's
I was
real.
about
That's
to say
real.
Worship it as such, right?
to piggyback off that. I was about to say to piggyback off that. I was just like, perfect quote was like, shit. I was about to say like we, for most part, dudes just have sex to have fun. Like nigga, that type of language and transfer energy was never meant for fucking having fun. It's meant to create another god, not to just be out here fucking. So I just I wanted to say to piggyback off that because niggas are making WAP and making it cool. Just be fucking girls out here like, all right, if you don't have your fun. But know what this transfer energy is when y'all really doing that.
Big facts.
That's just a whole hard like y'all. It's a real transfer energy when y'all really having sex out here, and you just out here having sex with who knows who, and you don't know who she been with, and who that person she been with after that. So it's just like, bro, yo, you gotta make sure if you are going to do that with anybody, like make it like you said, it's a privilege if you be down there anyway. But since most girls don't treat it as such, we don't. But
But they might not
we
treat
both
it
50-50
because
need to treat that as such.
they might not treat it as such because we don't.
Because we don't.
We in a patriarchal
Oh,
society.
definitely.
Uh,
Definitely. I agree. You know what I'm saying? But it holds it's our responsibility too to know that
facts.
you ain't this ain't for fun.
Right.
This creates another human being. And most of us and
And
then
it
if
creates
you
a
ain't
whole nother
responsible enough to
emotion.
take care of a human being, you don't need to be down there.
Facts.
You don't need to be down there if you ain't responsible enough to take care of no. Like bro, like I said, have your fun. But if you know now if y'all have a baby together, you just know this is your responsibility. You feel me?
That,
But that
bro,
cycle continues with us.
that right there. You said you want to do it for fun. You're gonna end up having a baby, and that the only thing that's gonna be played on is that child. And that's become a game to like you done made that baby's life into a game. Like you thought you was
You
having
don't
fun.
you
Now
don't
you,
continue the cycle.
yeah.
Boy.
You
Mm.
can't
You
play
can
no games with
cycle.
that.
You can tell the cycle what we talking about to why a lot of this bullshit happened because first of all because a lot of people learn this shit from our parents and they wasn't taught right. But we can change it if we keep switching the cycle up. But like I say you can't be just if you're gonna have sex to have fun and you have a child, make sure you take care of it. You feel me? Like shit. That's the only thing. Our cycle we out here busting just like I don't know if you can remember in school. I was like, bro, I don't know if you used to remember any conversations I had with people. I used to have people like, oh, you had sex or something like that. I'm like, yeah, such and such. I did without a condom. I was like, nigga, like they crazy. I was like, what, nigga? I'm like, bro, why don't you put a condom on? Oh, I like the feeling, nigga. What are you talking about? The feeling, nigga. I like me too. I like the feeling of free responsibility. You know, like nigga, I like the. You feel me? I like the fuck. I like the feeling of no nigga crying at me at night. no. I ain't got me say nigga, but no baby crying at night. You feel me? It's like damn, like no, my brother at a older age. Like damn. It
Bro.
was funny too, cause like it was funny too, cause I found out, cause you know, cause y'all don't know, but Zach know I got older parents, and God bless my dad, so he passed away and a few years ago in his 70s, and I was talking to my moms, I was just like, did y'all even mean to have me? I was like, damn, nigga, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, damn. But it was like they was at an older age. They went through life and shit like that. So just like they were just like, we're just gonna take care of the child. I was just like, damn, at least y'all didn't leave a nigga. I was just like, damn, because if that was another age, and that could have been, I could never not have older parents, and I could have been, we in the cycle regardless. But I could have been more fucked up mindset wise. You feel me? If I didn't have those type of solid, the foundation is the most thing that we need to have that foundation. And so I'm glad my parents had the ability to even give me that foundation to have an open mindset, to respect women in a real way. You feel me? To respect my brother in a real way. You feel me? Not always diss somebody, not look down upon somebody because they don't have that. When you got that foundation, you have a different conversation with people. But people don't have that foundation. That's why I don't knock people for just not knowing or not having. You might have had a talks with if you even had a dad, or if you had a dad, then he might not even talk to you the way how another person supposed to talk to you, put you on game about shit, because he ain't know shit. So it's just like, bro, like that's my thing, like, bro, like the cycle, man. So if you are gonna have the kid, take care of your child, bro. It's like y'all just out here having sex to have fun. If you're gonna do that, take care of the children, man. Because if you don't, then the cycle gonna continue. They're gonna be then 20 years they're gonna have this same conversation that we have. It's like, nigga, it should have been done. Like, no, bro, like, fuck.
You can't build a house without a foundation.
Yes, sir.
So,
Don't build on sand.
And it take a village to raise your child too.
Yo, Kenny, McGall said what up.
You said what now?
I said McGall said what up. He was in here for a little bit.
Yeah, dog.
I said McGall, dog.
Oh my god,
It did sound like you said my dog at first, though. It did sound like that.
Like your dog, like your homie or your.
I heard the name, and then I was just like, I know he didn't say my dog, but it sounded like that.
McGall, yeah,
my god, tell my god, I said, what's up, man?
I got you, bro.
It's been ages. Yeah. Yo, I do gotta get rid of this. I gotta get rid of this slide though, y'all.
Yeah, I think this might be a good point for us to end off at. We're gonna read for our book. Well, first I want to say thank you to Malachi and Cameron for coming on, man. Y'all really added a lot. And thank y'all to everybody in the comments, man. We had Sterling drop through, we had Desi drop through, Tiffany being here for the long run. I appreciate that.
Man, rocking with us.
Yes, for sure. My
Tiffany been here a few times.
Yeah, more definitely. The night. Thank you for coming through. I gotta put that back up there. High infinite power healing our people, man. That's powerful.
Yes,
right there.
That did take us down a tangent slightly, but it's relevant still to our people, our culture, our education, our lifestyle.
It's higher, not high, too. Higher infinite power.
Our infinite power?
Yeah, higher.
He got you. No, I'm playing.
I ain't trying to do that. Chill out.
But for our book, I think me and Zach have decided on a recommendation from one of our elders, and AAPRP recommended us Women in Society by Sekou Touré. And it's a short book. It's around 70 pages, and it really hits on, from what I've seen in the short part of the introduction and the title, it hits on what it's going to take for the emancipation of women in our society and what it's going to take to, gain freedom for women. And so it's a short book. I think it's around 70 or 80 pages. So I think that equals out to about 5 pages again. So once again, a light workload. And
that's right.
What we'll do is, because before this, I didn't know who Sekou Touré was, and I still don't really know who Sekou Touré is. So we'll put out a couple posts highlighting who he was and what he did and the significance of Sekou Touré. And like always, we'll drop the PDF for the book in our link tree, so y'all don't got to worry about purchasing the book. Y'all can download it right to your phones or your tablets or your laptops or whatever and read it with ease. But I think we had a great conversation, man. I honestly didn't know where this conversation was going to go, but I think it went to a great, productive place.
Yeah, I should have told you, man. Change the whole Breonna Taylor question. It's like we started with that, we covered the ground, and then we went off. But that's cool.
But it still all went around the Black family, and it came back to talking about our women and protecting, uplifting.
It did make it back. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I'm thinking about this next book.
Yeah, I'm excited about this, man. Like our women really hold things down in more ways than one, big ways and small ways, some ways that we even know and don't notice. Like I just know that from, women like my mom, my grandma, even my sister, women that I've talked to. And there is a lot of appreciation due there, you know what I'm saying? Let's appreciate them by doing the small things too that we can. And really we're here to be a team, man. And I think that should be our first thought when we're around somebody who cares about us, and we may or may not see the full effects of that care.
Um, yeah, so Women in Society, Seiko Toure. We'll meet again for the book in 2 Sundays from now. But I think we'll probably have another meeting sometime in the week on some type of some type of current event. We'll try to bring some up. We have a great conversation around hip hop that we seem to be developing. So maybe we can meet in the next week and have some people on talking about hip hop and its influence. Um, any last remarks? Anything y'all want to add?
I just appreciate
No, it's
everybody.
been an honor, always is. And yeah, I'm glad we could get here and do this.
One love, one love.
Yeah, yeah, people, yeah. I appreciate kicking it with y'all, and it seems like other people do appreciate us at least even having this kind of conversation. And we do want to promote liberation through education, and that's going to be the main theme that you see. Whether it's talking about women, racism, capitalism, slavery, the Black community, building nations, like you know, liberation through education, and I can stand behind that.
And just to add to that, man, we talked about AAPRP early. If anybody's more interested, because we're going to provide some type of development of revolutionary consciousness through Unlock. That's what we want to do. But if y'all are interested in doing it on another political level or organizational level, then hit us up about AAPRP. We have a work study circle going on right now that's in the very beginning stages where we're starting to read and develop that consciousness within ourselves. So we'll come and share with you what we can, but we got a lot of work going on behind the scenes too. So hit us up if y'all want to be involved in that. And also, if y'all can share this video to whoever you think will be interested, hit the like button. It helps other people see what we got going on here. And hit us with a subscribe so you can stay tuned to everything we got going on.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. All right,
All right,
gent.
y'all. Take it
All
easy.
right.
Thanks,
Yeah, be
Malachi.
easy. Doses,
Thanks,
man.
Cam. Y'all be easy.